Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody doing today? I am okay. My friend in Hungary's not. Um, I just got a strange voicemail on WhatsApp that she's afraid these Hamas and people that are invading Israel are coming to kill families and kids in Europe. And she's really freaking out. So she's saying her friends in Israel are telling her the Hamas people are coming to kill everybody. Now, I don't, it seems like a threat. I don't know how serious to take it. I mean, there is armies and police, which are not going to just let them come into the neighborhood or knock on doors in Hungary and say, we're here to kill you. I find that a little, I think they're trying to scare people, yes, but I don't think it's something that will happen. But she's scared out of her mind. So this is the difference in European. Now she's in Hungary, so I don't know. I tell her, well, we'll be fine. We'll buy gold. And they don't, gold will protect you because of everything, right? But because the dollars are going. So I don't know. I don't know what this is about. This seems like a George Soros plot. Again, he's crazy. But I don't know how to comment. So you can come here. I mean, we should be safe in Detroit. She says she needs to hide and get weapons. And I'm like, go get a hotel room and you should be safe in a hotel. They're not going to let people kill their guests. So I don't know. I don't know where to tell her to go. I got Jenna in the Ukraine and she's in a war and she seems okay. She went to the doctor today. Hey, Bobby Bo. I don't know. These Hamas people are scaring my girlfriend in Hungary. She WhatsApp me and she's all scared. Friends in Israel are saying the Hamas are coming to kill everybody, all the families and kids, and she's scared out of her mind. And I'm thinking, they're probably just trying to scare you. I don't think they're really going to knock every door and start shooting, and the police are just going to stand there and let it happen, or the government. So I said, they're trying to kill us with sugar. I don't know if they're going to actually come into everybody's home and kill us. Anyway, I was I don't know what to tell her. I said, well, you're welcome here. You should be safe in Detroit. But I says, I don't know where. And she's like, well, like we're in a hurry. Like they're coming now. And I just shake my head. I'm like, they're not coming now. They're not going to come to your house and they're not going to come kill you. I mean, there would have to, this is in Europe. She's in Hungary. There'd have to be 1 million soldiers walking down the street and the police just let it happen. And I just don't see that either. Nobody's going door to door, but I don't know what to tell her. I don't know how to calm her down. Well, that's how 80% of the population has diabetes, which means 80% of the population are going to have strokes and heart attacks and die. And if you notice, high fructose corn syrup isn't everything, except for Ken's salad dressing, and even the fish have mercury in it. I mean, there's really little way out, right, Bobby? I mean, you can eat your meat, but it's got to be grass-fed, or I guess you could have the hormones in moderation. The eggs seem to be okay, and the veggies seem to be okay on my diet, and my avocados seem to be okay. I don't know, but that definitely, if you keep eating sugar and you don't fast, you're going to get diabetes, you're going to die. There's no question about that. That's obvious. So all we can do is do our fasting and be careful on our sugars, and be careful with what you're drinking and what you're eating, and try not to eat as much, and do a little workout, not a lot. You don't need to work out. I see these fat women in the pool all the time in these classes, running around in circles and doing aerobics. And I just shake my head going, ladies, all you need to do is eat healthy and fast. And if you want to get healthy, that's how you get it. You don't get healthy working out. The food is the health, not the workout. So if you're going to work out, if you're going to work out to get healthy, you're doing the wrong thing. Right? It's like if you want to get batting practice, you don't go out in left field and catch pop-ups. It might help you on the pop-ups, but it ain't going to help your hitting, right? So if you want to get healthy and lose weight, it's by eating, not by the workout. So they're doing everything wrong, but they don't know. They don't have a clue. There's a few people I want to show. So there's this Kathy Wood. She's a fucking moron. I knew that the first time I saw her. So Kathy Wood is going broke. Kathy Wood just destroyed her art thing. She's an idiot. I always thought she was an idiot. But again, this is one of those Keynesians that's in stocks, not in gold, thinking the stock market will keep going, not understanding economics and other sales. And this is what I hate about all these stock guys who want to tell us about gold and economics. They don't fucking know. So she's going out. Let's see. Where was the other?
Here at Subaru of Ann Arbor,
There was another one. Okay, does anybody know this moron, Michael Pinto? He's another idiot. He comes across, he's a Keynesian because he talks deflation. So a key word. Well, she's a female moron. She's terrible. This is my point. So you guys don't know. And here comes Kathy Wood, or this Michael Pinto guy. And they start talking the bullshit, Keynesian and deflation, but don't buy gold. And you guys listen because you don't know not to listen. That's my job. You do not listen to this idiot, but he thinks he knows what he's talking about. So he comes across and he's in T-bills. I'm laughing my ass off. Who the fuck would be in T-bills? What are you in T-bills for? You're in paper. The Titanic's sinking, and he's going up to the third deck. I'm in T-bills. Why? It's going to zero. Why would you be in T-bills? Why aren't you mentioning gold? So he doesn't mention it. He says that. And Kathy Woods is stock. Who knows what her background is? She's a moron. But I don't want you guys to listen. That's why I don't like the outside interference when people bring up these little, the Mountain West is a road dog is 75 and 74. I don't care. I don't want to hear that. And that's the thing here. So you've got to know Keynes. So some key words is if you hear deflation and you hear stocks, stop listening. Mark it down. Michael Pinto, Kathy Wood, Keynesians, don't listen to. You don't want to listen to any Keynesians. So Reichert and Rick Rude are both deflation Keynesians. Who's that guy? Andy Schechter. He's an idiot. He'll mention Austrian economics, but he doesn't know what it is. He'll just mention it. And Maloney is Keynesian because he wants to show you graphs. Anybody that goes to graphs and mentions deflation and doesn't mention gold are out. Now, Sheckman and Peter Schiff sell gold. So they'll mention gold because they're trying to sell it, but they're not. They're Keynesians also. Peter Schiff will say he's an Austrian, but he's not, because he doesn't understand Austrian economics. So I can say I'm a football player, but I'm not. Hey, Titus. I'm not Bernie Madoff, and I can't bet after the game. I can only bet before. But so keep that in mind. You got to know who to listen to and what to listen for. I bring up gold, but I bring it up because this is going to zero, and I back it up, and I talk in English at a 5th grade level, because that's all I know, even though I got a master's. I don't talk at a master's level. Nobody would understand it. So I keep it simple, stupid. I was working at Canadian Club with my beloved 12-year-old, and the VP of finance would say 2 things. He'd say, KISS, keep it simple, stupid, and Jifty, just fucking do it. Like, don't ask questions. If I tell you to sweep the floor, just fucking sweep the floor. I don't want contradictory argument, opinion. Just fucking do it. So I love those 2 expressions I got from there. Anytime, Titus. I don't. This is a fun class, but we learn a lot. This is a very active, real class. So now you got this war in Israel. So my friends said, I got friends in Israel and they're coming for us. And she's trying to hide her daughter and she's freaking out and she's looking for a safe place and weapons. I'm going, are they really going to Hungary? I mean, they're running to Hungary, to your house, to kill you. They're going to kill everybody. See, this is the problem. She doesn't know. So it's like me, if I say buy gold, you guys are looking at me like I'm nuts if I can't explain it. And I saw the communist in the hot tub yesterday, and just now he wants to buy gold. He's getting divorced. He's like, oh, okay, as soon as I get out of the divorce, I got to buy gold. I go, well, you'll be lucky if it's still available. So I don't know. I mean, gold shot up yesterday. It shot up like $30. So I looked at it today. It's like $18.50 or something. Bobby, it might be Titus Young, who was one of the Kellen Moore receivers at Boise back in the day. It could be Titus Young. He played for the Lions and he went crazy because, it's the Lions. He figured it out. I'll fuck him with the Lions. Yeah, they had that hell of a team, Kellen Moore. I remember when they beat Oklahoma on that fancy play. Because they keep saying, well, a team like Boise can't beat Oklahoma or can't be in the college football playoff. Yeah, they can win basketball games. Butler can get to the finals in basketball. Boise can get, in the playoffs. So this morning, I'm going to the swim tonight because my friend Julia, real sweet girl, in school, be not a doctor, but a medical type. So she's a gold person. So I said, I'll give you some silver, because she says she cries, I don't have any money. Okay. So I'm going to give her like 10 ounces. I'll give her a white container with like 10, but she's not working till tonight. So I don't want to go and then go again. So I'm just going to go swimming after dinner. They had a great team. Even Kellen never got a chance. Played one game for Dallas, threw for 400 yards, broke his ankle, and he was done. And now he's the coach of San Diego, shaking his head going, oh, my God, I got an idiot for a head coach. I was looking at algorithms last night, and they're so stupid and misleading. So they're just trying to jumble up by number, saying, oh, well, 51% of teams on 4th and 1 that go for it make it. But it doesn't say where. It doesn't say when. It doesn't say in the last minute of the game, and you're up by 4 like San Diego's been, and they go for it at their own 20. That's ridiculous. So it's not scenario driven. It's not team driven. It's not strength and weakness. It's not matchup. It's just simply a number, and I doubt the number's even real. The same, are you looking at it when there's like 2 minutes left in the game and it's 4th and 1? What's the percentage then? So they're not looking at time slots or where. At the other team's 40, it might be. At the 10-yard line, it's probably 0, and you should never do it at your own side. So the whole fundamentals of this algorithms are just, or what is it? Not algorithms, but analytics. They're so stupid. And what kills me is a real coach would never use them. If I was coaching, I would never go 4th and 1 unless it's late in the game and I need the first down because I'm down 4 and I need a touchdown. Otherwise, I'm never going inside my own 50, and I'm only going maybe at their 40 when it's 4th and 2 and I can't kick a field goal and I don't want to punt it. And then it depends on the other team. Do they have Mahomes, or do they, then I might want to keep it. If they got Lamar, I'm punting it every time. If they got Steve Young or they got Richardson. Richardson hurt his shoulder. He might need surgery. So this is the problem. This is the problem with the running quarterback. He gets hurt. Now what do? See, you can lose your running back, get another running back. They're supposed to run, but when your quarterback goes down, there's not like you can just get 5 quarterbacks. They're not all the same. It's not next man up. It's just unfucking believable how stupid these teams are. Look at Lamar. He can't stay healthy. Now Richardson's got a concussion and now hurt his shoulder. Who is the other guy? Steve Young's he sucks anyway. Why is he out there over Andy Dalton? That's an incredibly stupid coach. That coach, if I'm running the team, he's fired. The San Diego coach is fired for this 4th down bullshit with a minute left in the game at my own 25. He's going for it on 4th and 1 against Minnesota with Jefferson on it. Yeah, I want to let them beat us because I don't punt the ball. Jesus Christ. Then I watched that play you told me about, Bobby, the Miami and Georgia Tech play. I think the whole game was fixed. Okay, Miami averages 40 a game, and Georgia Tech gives up 35 a game. The score at halftime was 3-0, and I'm watching, that 20-minute highlight on YouTube. He's running up the middle. He's very bad play calling. The guy, Van Dyke, throws 2 or 3 interceptions on incredibly stupid plays, no screens, no post. And then he finally does a post pair, and the guy's wide open. So the offensive coordinator, I'm sure, fixed the game for the unders. They must have had a lot of over-betters on it. And then at the end of the game, so I'm watching the handoff. Now, it wasn't as bad as I thought. He didn't do it at his own 10-yard line. The guy fumbles. They picked it up and scored. He actually handed off. He gained about 6 yards. It was at the Georgia Tech 30. And again, the question is, take the delay a game, take a knee, run 30 seconds off, and let's say there would have been 5 seconds. If he would have taken the knee, there would have been 5 seconds, and it would have been 4th down, and he could have written that time off. Incredibly bad. The coach should be fired. The offensive coordinator needs to go, and the defensive coordinator on the last drive needs to go. They threw a 50-yard pass. Where was the defenders at the goal line? You're letting this guy go across the field, get behind it, and catch a 50-yard touchdown because the defenders were in front of him. Where's the defenders at the goal line? So in case he does catch it, you can tackle him. Where's the pass rush? And why do they even have the ball when if they take it 2 knees, the game's over? This coach needs to go. He was sucked at Oregon. He used to play at Miami. Big deal. Isaiah Thomas used to coach the Pistons. He ain't a good coach. I mean, it doesn't matter. That doesn't make you a coach because you used to play there. The Rock used to play at Miami. You're going to make The Rock the coach? Now maybe he could lay the smackdown on and give the people's elbow when they got, in the red zone, but I'm not making him the coach either, and he used to play there. Bobby Bow, you might have to let her know to not go selling the silver at these prices. Well, Jenna won't sell the silver. She knows better. Belichick has looked like a flat-out joke now. Patriots have a combination of bad offense, bad defense, terrible coaching, and they're using Mac Jones. It's not like they don't have another quarterback. They got Zappy, who won 3 games for him last year. It's not so. Why isn't he? He's going to do worse than Mac Jones. So what is it with Mac Jones? Because he played for Alabama. Oh, if you play for Alabama, then you've got to play. We can't bench you. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I agree. Belichick's a clown. Anybody that thinks this guy's good. The only reason he was good at New York is they had a guy called Lawrence Taylor. So me and you would look like defensive geniuses. Lawrence, just line up wherever you want and make all the tackles. I'm going to go to sleep. I mean, he takes credit for Lawrence Taylor. Come on, man. That's ridiculous. Like Belichick taking credit for Brady. It doesn't work. Or a bad defense like LSU, a giant ball of mess 2 weeks ago. I thought Kelly should have went for it at midfield instead of punting, relying on the garbage defense. That's another factor into going for it if your defense is terrible. But the game was over. They literally gave a win away. It's why are they handing off at all? And yet I saw Alabama do the same thing. All they had to do is take 3 knees and win the game. He throws a pass. Then he's handing off the same thing. He's running a play instead of taking a knee. And they're in a shotgun. Why are you in a shotgun? You're telling me that your quarterback can't go under center and take a snap. Really? This is how bad you guys are. You can't take a snap from center and take a knee. Really? Oh, my God. How bad is it? I think the offensive defensive coordinators are the worst I've ever seen in my life, and I've been watching since the 60s. The defenses suck. They just play this soft zone. These guys, what was I watching? I was watching some game. Usually it's tag, but it was another game where all he was doing is throwing these short. I don't know if Green Bay was doing it, but all they were doing is throwing these short passes. And, 2-yard passes, and the guys would run for 10 yards. Who did that? Somebody did that, and there was like a 60-yard play and a 70-yard play on just little 5-yard passes. So the quarterback looks like, oh, look at me. Might have even been the Bears. But all it is these 5-yard passes because the defenses are pathetic. They play this very loose zone, and they're all these plays are underneath. What was the game? I think it was the Denver Jet game, and maybe now it wasn't that, but it was a game where they're at the 10-yard line, and the safety's at the goal line. The receiver's at the 10. He comes up, he crosses over, he's wide open. The quarterback, and then he gets in. I don't remember the team. But I couldn't believe what I was watching. The guy's at the goal line, and you're at the 10, and you're at the 10-yard line. You don't need to stay at the goal line. He can't go anywhere. And he gives up an easy touchdown on that. And so you think the quarterbacks are good. They're not good. They're throwing little 5-yard swing passes, and the defense is terrible. They can't tackle. I've never seen anything like it. I get they're scared to go helmet to helmet. Or some of these, and that's the other thing. The referees are horrible. The whole game's getting bad because you can't really tackle. You touch the quarterback's helmet. The guy goes up to block the ball, and his hand hits the quarterback's helmet. It's roughing the passer. Give me a fucking break. That's not roughing the passer. Touching the helmet how is that roughing the passer? Then there was one game, and the guy did that, and the quarterback falls down, and I'm like, I wouldn't draft that guy. What a fucking loser that quarterback was. Now we're gonna start playing like soccer, and we'll take dives and everything, or hockey, whatever these sports are. So it's getting really bad. Everything. So I just updated the pros. I didn't write them down. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna read through this. So if we go by teams, the best team, San Francisco. I'm on Excel, so if you leave a comment, give me about a minute. I'll quickly read through this. So the Niners they score 33, give up 14. That's the A team. This is how you develop the A teams. So I take the new stats, I look at them. In pro, it's different. They're not playing high school teams. So it's 33-14. They just play Dallas, so everything's legit here. They're an A. Buffalo 32-16. They're an A. Dallas 27-17. They're an A with an asterisk because an A team doesn't lose 42-10. Kansas City 26-16. Miami 36-27 is an over. So when you're 26-16 like Kansas City, you're an A because you got a good offense, good defense. Miami, though, is 36-27. Makes them an over because they are not, their defense isn't good. They give up 27. That's why I love Miami over usually if they play anybody with a decent offense. Detroit's actually an A, 30-21, although the last three teams they played suck. Atlanta, Carolina, and Green Bay have no offense. So in my mind, I know Detroit's not that good. I know Frisco is, Buffalo, Dallas, KC, but I don't believe Detroit is. Philly, 28-21. They're a B. Baltimore, 22-15 is actually an under because they don't really score a lot and they got a good defense. New Orleans, 19-15. So this is why we bet New Orleans under. They don't score and they got a good defense. So we're looking for personality types of the teams. Houston, 23-20. They're also kind of an under. Indy, 24-23 is more of an even team. They score 24, they give up 23, so it's hard to play an under on them. It's hard to play them over. They're kind of right in the middle. That's why I say it for myself. It's an E team, so I know what to do with them. Jacksonville's an under, 21-20. The Rams are 22-22, pretty much an under. Green Bay's 23-23. They're an even team, but I know their defense isn't that good. Cleveland's 15-15. What the fuck? That's an under. They can't score. Tampa 17-17. They're an under. Tennessee 18-19. They're an under. So you got teams that can't score and have good defenses. It's mind-boggling. Seattle 22-23 is an even. The Jets 19-21 is an under. Atlanta 17-19 an under. So you can see I made the bet on Atlanta, the under, and it worked perfectly against what Atlanta was playing Houston. So Atlanta's a 17-19, and Houston's a 23-20, and the score was 20-18. You weren't expecting a lot of points in the game. See, a lot of it depends on who you're playing. Minnesota 22-24 is an even. San Diego 22-26 is an even, but almost an over. Arizona 22-27. So with Joshua Dobbs, they're scoring 22 points. That's what this tells me, even though it's Dobbs and he sucks, but they're scoring 22 a game. They give up 27. So, look what happened last week with who the fuck were they playing? Cincinnati, 34-20. So against a good quarterback, they're going to give up a lot of points. So Joe Burrow had a good game. 17-23 for Cincinnati it should be like a W, but I'm calling them an even because I know Burrow's playing. He's back. He's playing better. They're really not a 17. Once Burrow plays, they'll be in the 20s. So I'm kind of making an if come 20. Pittsburgh 16-22 and Oakland 16-23. Now they're W's because they have a lousy offense, but the defense isn't like Cleveland. It's not a 15-15. They're 16, but they give up 22-23. Chicago's an over because they score 23, give up 31. Any team that gives up over 27 is an over or a Z. So Chicago's 23-31. That's an over. Washington's 22-32. They're an over. You never know what you're going to get out of Thurston Hall the third there. But look at the defenses. 31, 32, 29, 36, 26, 31. The bottom five teams. And they're the bottom teams because their defense sucks. Carolina 18-29. That's the Z team. Denver 24-36 is more of an over. New England 11-26 is probably should be a Z team. And the real Z team, the Giants, 12-31. What kind of mess is that? So that's how we come up with things. This is how you make your bets. How accurate is this? No, it's not 100%, but how else do we determine the teams for the bets? How do you determine that? You have to know the team. So this is the best personality test I've come up with in 40 years is, it's Joe Montana, it's Lawrence Taylor, it's Jimmy Johnson. There was always like, I'm betting on Joe Montana. He always wins the games. And then it went to Brady and, Peyton Manning choked, so you couldn't go with him. But now I'm getting into the defense. Now I'm much more heavily into overs and unders and or picking the games. Like I knew Mahomes would beat Minnesota. I knew the Jets were good against Denver. I didn't play over under because it was conflicting. And I thought Zach Wilson would have a good game for the Jets. They put up 31. Granted, the last 7 was a fumble taken back for a touchdown. But the idea is when you're playing a weak defense, all the quarterbacks look good. And when you're playing a strong defense, you're playing the Niners, you're not going to look good. But when you play Denver or the Giants, you're going to look a whole lot better. And that's the theory of how to come up with the game. Once you do that, then you're looking for live dogs in these situations. Or, now the Niner Dallas, that should have went under, but it didn't, and that's the problem. Dallas scores 30 points a game, so you can't ignore, so I'm figuring out what to do with A teams because they're very strong offensively, very strong defensively. So you don't know, do you play the game over or do you play the game under? It's a very difficult thing because you don't know. Like look at Oregon, Washington this week. They're both A teams. They both score 40 a game. They both give up 15. What do you do with the game? And it makes it very difficult because you don't know, how do I really play this game under? It's 60 something. So the over is probably more of what you think should be. And that's really the problem. That's why Notre Dame, Ohio State, I thought would be high scoring, but they weren't. Now, 4 times they went for inside the 10-yard line on 4 different occasions and came up empty. Well, if they scored touchdowns, we would have gotten over. The Miami Georgia Tech game was 100% fixed. The offensive coordinator called the stupidest plays. And then the play at the end, running the ball instead of taking 2 knees, should be fired on that ground that he's incompetent. The coach should be fired on the ground. He's incompetent. I got to do a Twitter post on that. But anyway, in this video, fire the Miami staff. They're all incompetent idiots. The offensive coordinator is incompetent to only score 20 points against Georgia Tech, who gives up 40. You got to be kidding. And then the play call at the end, the defensive coordinator with his calls at the end, just all incompetent. They should all be fired. They're not football coaches. They don't know what they're doing. They don't get the concepts. Yeah, if I was coaching, Miami wins the game by 30 points. Because I don't know, I go to Van Dyke, I go, what do you like here? What kind of defense are they playing? What plays are open? And we run them. We don't run stupid plays where he throws 3 interceptions or these backward passes. There's nothing more infuriating. I'm watching like this, the little play-by-play on Yahoo, and it'll be 1st and 10 at the 30, and I need a touchdown, and then it's, pass to the right, 5-yard loss. 5-yard, what kind of pass? What's with the sideways passes? They don't work. Is that another one of these algorithms that these guys, well, if you throw the pass to the right on a screen, 10% of the time it actually works. Oh, let's do it. I'm so upset about this 4th and 1 and how stupid the coaches are. Well, they get it 60% of the time. bullshit. It's not a real. It's the same as the inflation rate is 3%. If you believe that shit, you're out of your fucking mind, and you don't do it in your own end, no matter what. And you got to believe the numbers, which I don't believe. So I think that's bullshit. I think it depends on when and where. Same thing with the two. They're trying to say, well, it's a negative mindset that if you don't get it versus punting the ball. Like if you punt the ball, you didn't, then it takes that, well, I didn't get the 4th and 1 out. No, it's strategy. This is football. If you punt the ball, if you have a good defense, that's what you should do, is nail them in and then play defense. That's the strategy. This is the art of war, buddy. This isn't go for it on 4th and 1, because percentage-wise, some made-up percentage that doesn't take any factors into account is a joke. So, I mean, that's the art of war. It says the best way to win is not to fight, is to win before it. You threaten. And that's the same thing here. You don't go for it every time on 4th and 1 because it's 51% of the time you're going to make it. The fuck is that? That's ridiculous. Just punt the fucking ball and play defense. And if you don't have a good defense, then you go fire your defensive coordinator, because these guys are all skilled enough to play good defense. The LSU defensive coordinator should be fired. They'll probably get fired at the end of the year, fucking up their chances, but they have the wrong quarterback in anyway. And Brian Kelly's an idiot with this quarterback. He sucked at Arizona State. Is that another thing? It seems like they don't know what to do with Hartman and Van Dyke as far as play calling. I mean, Van Dyke's play calling was terrible. And where's Hartman? You're playing Louisville and Duke, and you got Hartman, and you can't light them up for 50 points? Are you kidding me? That's a fucking joke. That offensive coordinator should be gone. Bobby. But the game was over. They literally gave a win away. Yeah, I mean, take a knee. The clock runs 40 seconds. There's only 40 seconds left. Okay, so let's say there's, then it's going to reset. So, and I don't know if he even hiked it at 0. I don't know. We can watch the play. Yeah, I hate the referee. The referee's little ticky-tack, but they're making the plays. They're bailing out teams. 4th and 20. And a very bitchy, defensive holding gives the team a first down. You're bailing out these teams. I'm sure it's for Vegas. How much Vegas is behind this, I think, is a whole lot more than it used to be. Look, you got gambling involved with it. You got DraftKings and BetMGM. What the fuck? So you don't think if there's too much money on one side, they're not fixing the games? Or, you get that what game was I watching where they gave them I think it was the Kansas City, Minnesota game. So KC's up 10, 14 points, and they give Minnesota the penalty drive. 4 consecutive penalties on Kansas City, touchdown. Now it's 10-7. And then the next 5 drives, there's no penalties. So on one drive, they call all these cheap defensive interference or holding or all this bullshit. There was a defensive holding on a lineman. How the fuck can that happen? How are you fucking calling it? Like, what are they looking at? And then they dive. The quarterback takes a dive, and they call roughing the passer. I think that's the worst call. And all this, this defensive interference is a joke, or holding. They're just, what do you want them to do? They got to touch the player, but they're not impeding them. What the fuck are you doing? But when the offensive player does it, you got to call offensive interference. Just fucking let it go. Let the game go. Utah should send Rising to UL Monroe because he's not coming back this season. I'm leaning toward a 3-team USC Notre Dame over Chiefs and LSU. Haven't looked yet, Bobby, but yeah, the USC Notre Dame, I think, is in the 60s. What's the Chiefs? The Chiefs are laying 10. Are you playing a 10-team teaser? A 10-point teaser? Yeah, KC even will kill Denver with that defense. And, yeah, KC will win easy. See, now you understand what to look for. Anytime Mahomes gets a easy defense like Denver, he's going to light it up. That's why we took him against the Bears. He lit up. They got 41. They scoring 15 on everybody to get the Bears 41 because the Bears couldn't stop it. KC's defense is getting much better, and that's what you want. You want a strong quarterback to go, like you don't want like Steve Young going against Denver. He won't light it up. He's terrible. Or this Love on Green Bay. He's pathetic. Oh my God, is he terrible? Now I'm writing the quarterbacks in my thing because I don't know. I still like, is Richardson on Houston or Indy, and then Stroud, and then Steve Young and Love. There's so many bad quarterbacks. How can we get to this point where all these quarterbacks are so bad and you're starting rookies? All I can say is you go back to Mayfield gets drafted first. He sucks. Josh Rosen's out. Josh Allen sucks. And there's a couple others in that class, and they all sucked. And you're starting them all. Trevor Lawrence, he sucks. Who was the guy on Ohio State? Yeah, Fields, he sucks. I mean, these are terrible, terrible quarterbacks, and they're drafting them and playing them right away. They're not resting them. They're not like you watch. Mahomes watched. The best quarterback of all sat the first year. Maybe that's what you do with these losers. Otherwise, these guys are terrible, and they're not going to get – you can't throw them in. That's not how it works. You've got to teach them. You've got to explain. Everything's teaching. And what they learn in college now is nothing, especially half these coaches in college suck. Mahomes is as clutch as Bobby Bowe in the bottom of the ninth. Well, yeah, we know that. Or The Rock. Toddy Todd. Professor, I know we are in a new week, but come on, tell me Vegas had to be involved on the Titans-Colts game. I didn't see that game. I know what was the so it's 23-16 Indy. What is your thought? Teaser was -4.5 for Titans. Okay, he played a 17 teaser, took the Titans in 4.5. Colts couldn't get a first to kneel it out, and boom, the backdoor field goal. Yeah, I get you +4.5. Oh, okay, so it was 20-16. You're winning, and then they kick a late field goal. Well, Vegas is more involved in the Miami Georgia Tech game, I think. Because as Bobby pointed out, if you had Miami on the money line, you lost on the stupidest play in the world. The spread, I don't think, was involved. I think Miami was like 20-point favorites. Let's see. Miami was laying 19, so that really didn't matter. I had the over 52. Georgia Tech is an over team, so they score 30, give up 30. And Miami scores 40 and gives up like 25 and they're 20. And to end 23-20, it was 3-0 at half. How the fuck does Van Dyke get 3 points? So was that fixed? I don't know. That's a weird fix. The other fixes are when they do the lateral play and it ends up with the other team scoring a touchdown to cover the over or the under. That's usually what you get. But I don't know. They kick a late field goal, but they're winning usually. Well, the fix would have been probably Tennessee. You can win, but they're only laying 2.5. So I don't know what to tell you. I didn't play the game. I like the game under 49, which is probably the way you got to play Tennessee. You got to play them under. I don't think you play them to win. Indy's kind of a weird team. See, you got fucked because Richardson got hurt for a change, and Minshew came in. That's why you lost, because of Minshew. If Richardson plays, you probably win it easy. Yeah, they were. I played the over, like you said, and it was stinky. I don't know what that means. Yeah, the spread didn't matter. The ones who got hurt were the ones who had Miami at but it was 19. Nobody had Miami -2. It was just strictly the money liners, and that was it because the over was 58, and I had it over 52. I said, "Oh, this game will be 40-37. Georgia Tech can't stop anybody." Georgia Tech. Now I'm going to tell you why I played that game over. The week before, Georgia Tech plays. Who did they play? They played Georgia Tech loses to Bowling Green 38-27. Bowling Green is a Z team. Bowling Green last week lost to Miami of Ohio 27-0, but somehow beats Georgia Tech 38-27. They probably haven't scored 38 points combined all year. They're a Z team. That means they score like 15 points a game. So Georgia Tech, Bowling Green lights them for 38, and Miami lights them for 20. Bowling Green 38. Miami only gets 20. Was Miami not watching the Bowling Green tape to see what Bowling Green did to get 38 points on them? Seriously? I'll tell you, it smells to high heaven, that Miami game. Even the ending. Now, I don't know why Miami would lose, but even the ending smells to high heaven. Again, you realize that Miami, Cristobal is terrible. He was at Oregon. He was terrible. Again, Miami had Geddes, the guy from Michigan who sucked, the offensive coordinator, goes to Miami and he sucks. And he fucks up Van Dyke, so they fire him. What are you hiring him for? What do you think, he's good? Well, he coached at Alabama and Michigan. Yeah, and he sucked. And he sucked at both places. And he sucked at Miami. So now you bring in another guy who supposedly brings in the air raid offense. I'm not seeing the air raid offense. They're running a lot. You're letting Georgia Tech gives up 38 to Bowling Green, and it's 3-0 at the half. We got a problem with your offensive coordinator, but we got a problem with whoever's hiring the staff, which is Cristobal. Doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He needs to go. He sucked at Oregon. Why is he good at Miami? I mean, he's not. He's terrible at Miami. That's just ridiculous. Florida State, we're going to load up on Florida State when they play Miami. I'll give you that. I mean, they're going to kill them. If this is what Miami is, just bet against them. Well, it's an unbelievable first half, 3-0. That's a game it's only a 52. We're expecting in the third quarter to be 28-24. How do you have 3-0? I mean, that's insane. Like I said, they lost to Bowling Green, put up 38 on them. They play a 65 with Bowling Green, a Z team. Unbelievable. That money line, like 20, it was a 19-point favorite. It was probably in the 2000s. All that juice to lose on the worst call ever. Well, that's why you've got to wonder if it was a bad call or done on purpose. Does Vegas say, you know what? There's a lot of money on Miami in the money line here. They got to lose. And that's what it smells like to me. Nobody can be an offensive coordinator and be this stupid. Then you got to wonder about the running back. What's he doing? Just take the ball and fall down. Why aren't they taking a knee? So you really got to even question the running back. Why is he running up the middle when the game's over? Just take the ball, take a knee, let the clock run to 0, and the game's over. Why are you even running with the ball? And then the fumble was a joke. The guy's going for yard. The game's over. You don't need yards. You just need to just get down. What are you running for? And Alabama did the same fucking thing. Alabama's running. They're handing the ball off with a minute left in the game instead of just taking 2 knees. Actually, it was even worse. The quarterback threw a pass on first down that was incomplete. The game's over. There's a minute left. They got no more timeouts. Take the knee 3 times. The game's over. He's throwing a pass. And guess what? Saban called him over to the sideline, said, you're all fucking fired. If, you want to play again, you better start taking knees. Like Saban couldn't believe on first down the quarterback was throwing the ball to the wide receiver, and he threw it 5 yards short and it was incomplete. All you need to do is take the snap, fall down, let the clock run out, and the game's over. What the fuck are you doing? Understandable first half. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, sir. I was thinking that with Florida State to win the ACC just all together, including beating Miami. Yeah, it's going to get ugly, especially if the game's at Florida State. If this is how Miami coaches, again, this coach should be Cristobal should be fired. Never should have been hired. Well, he played at Miami. Oh, well, whoop-de-doo. He played at Miami, so that makes him a coach. You want him to coach Van Dyke. You got the best quarterback you've ever had, better than any of the Jimmy Johnson coaches, the Snellenberg, Bernie, probably the best since Bernie Kosar in the 80s. And you're going to fuck him up with this shit? You just lost the game that this is his, I guess, senior year. I don't know with COVID. They're all playing 10 years in college football. It's supposed to be 4 years. There's 6-year guys. There's 7-year guys. What the fuck? Well, now apparently if they get injured, they get that year back. It's like, what the fuck? They're in college for 10 years. Now, I'm not sure why I would be in college that long because I should have been in the pros making money. So I'm in college not. And now with this whole NIL crap, it's supposed to be about an image. If they sell your jersey, you get $10 of it. Nah, I don't know how much it is, but what the fuck are you paying players for? What are we doing? Who's paying? Oh, the taxpayer. Well, we don't have any money for you. What the fuck is that? I mean, we can't buy enough gold. I think Luke asked me how much gold and silver should I buy? When is it enough? And I was thinking about that last night. I'm like, there is no answer. It is never enough. If you have 20 grand US dollars that you can spare, you put it into gold and silver. Where else are you going to put it? You ain't putting it in stocks with Kathy Wood and this other Pinto guy. It reminds me of the guy from Animal House. His Delta Talcai name was Pinto. That's this idiot running this investment thing. So, again, the moral of the story is that Kathy Wood, you're going to listen to her? She would have bankrupted you, right? She's ending her firm where it shows little blurbs. Oh, we're going to make 20%. We're going to make 50%. We're going to make 30%. They don't even understand what inflation is. I got an email today. Let me see if I can dig it up. Bobby, you'll love this one. So I get an email that we didn't choose you for a job. So it basically says, thank you for applying, but we're not going to choose you. So it says, thank you for giving us the opportunity to review your skills and experience for the program financial analyst senior full-time remote. At this time, we are considering other candidates for this opening. You're not even going to talk to me. Here's my response. So what my response says, laugh out loud, LOL. I guess you don't want great workers. Doesn't matter. Soon you'll be closed due to the monetary collapse, but you'll have unqualified workers watching you sink, the professor. There you go. That's my email. You don't want to talk to me. You don't want to get my skill set. You don't want to hear anything. Fuck yourself. And I'm doing this more and more where I'm getting, then there was one for attorneys. The guy says, he was kind of rude to me. And so I said, not interested in working for attorneys, bunch of scumbags. I know I wouldn't be happy there. So I just said, fuck you. I didn't like how, he didn't say, hi, Howard, would you like to work for us? He just said, are you interested in working for attorneys? I'm like, no, especially downtown Detroit. No chance. The drive is ridiculous, and I do not want to work for attorneys. Me and attorneys will not get along. It's like me and Keynesians. Well, they're probably all Keynesians anyway. You wild for that response, but it's respected. Well, they were disrespectful to me, right? They don't want to take the time to talk to me. Now, I got a master's in finance and Austrian economics. I've been doing that for 25 years at Ford, GM, Mercedes, now Harley. And you don't want to even talk to me? Who the fuck are you talking to? Oh, minority women or what? What you're talking to minorities or whatever? See, that's the problem. Now they don't want to talk to a regular guy. They need to fill their minority for the government purposes. So I'm being discriminated against. I'm hoping that I'm not for this other role at the cybersecurity firm, where on Thursday she said, "When can you start?" So I take that meaning we want you. We're gonna. Then where's the interview with the VP, which I was expecting today's Monday to hear by now, which I haven't heard by now yet. But I'll email her tomorrow and then just say, just checking the status. When's the next step going to happen? And she said, well, she might get busy, but who knows? Anyway, I'm just so tired of it because it's really stupid. You don't even want to talk to me. You see economics on my resume, but most people don't even understand that they're all getting fucked anyway. This is the problem. They don't understand that if you don't own gold, and most of these companies are too stupid to understand that, they're all going to be bankrupt anyway. So I could save you. I said that when I got fired from the job here at this ball bearing. They make the ball bearing things. And the guy says, "Well, we're gonna let you go." And I said to him, "That it doesn't matter. You'll all be looking for work in 6 months. You'll be out of work once the inflation and the depression hits. Nobody's going to want your business. You don't provide anything. You put rollers down so people can slide. I can slide this to the other side because I can't carry it. Yeah, I really want to pay for that. That's what I need. I mean, what a stupid company." And it's funny though. Once I watched Madoff, I realized I was at a Madoff company. The guy didn't have computer systems. He hired a bunch of high school kids, and and nobody knew what he did. And I, after watching Madoff, I said, I've been working for Madoff, and I did the physical inventory. I figured it out, and then I get fired because I wasn't supposed to figure it out. So now I understand. Everything isn't as it seems. But yeah, from now on, when I get this shit where they don't, I'm going to say, well, it won't matter. Your company you'll be going out very soon. And the thing with the attorneys, it's like working for the government. It ain't going to happen. I do not want to work for the government. I would never work for an attorney. I don't want to see them. They're all full of shit. They're all scam artists. I got to be kind of in charge. I can't listen I can listen if it's a smart person. And that's where Mercedes was good. And some of these, like the Canadian club job was good. I had smart bosses, so I could learn from them and respect them and go, yeah, that makes sense. But when I work for Toyota, these people are so fucking stupid. I can't take it. They're too stupid to listen to. So I get in trouble because I'll put my 2 cents in and they don't want to hear it and they don't understand it. I kept saying to everybody, go buy gold and silver. And they fired me because I kept talking. And I'm like, well, I can't help it if these people are so stupid. They don't want to buy gold. They don't want to listen. I told the CFO, I says, you need to buy silver before the price goes to 2,000 an ounce. Didn't even listen. It's like, okay, so you'll be out of business and I'll be rich with gold and silver. All right, so be careful who you listen to. Come to me first. Like Bobby's sitting there with that one person. Who is that one person, Bobby? I don't know. There was a YouTube guy. Who did you tell? Oh no. Oh, there's a Greg Hemke. Now we know Greg Hemke. He's a fucking Keynesian. So let me go to this article I watched yesterday. Oh, where did I put it? I'll get to that in a minute. Here's something very critical for us. Zimbabwe launches gold coins. I thought they had launched it, but here they go. Zimbabwe launches gold coins to cushion the economy. Here's where Greg Hemke is. So here's what Zimbabwe, their inflation is huge, right? Let's see. The country last year produced 35.2 metric tons of gold, and this year the government says it is targeting 40 metric tons as it tries to push revenues from the mining sector. So they're coming up with gold to sell it because it's the only thing they can sell, and people are buying it. Plus, they go into a gold-backed currency. Zimbabwe has introduced a new gold-backed digital currencies that battles to stop de-dollarization, which President Emerson, whatever, government fears will spell doom for the country's fragile economy. So they realize the paper's no good, and they're coming out with gold-backed money. Funny how that works. So here's Zimbabwe going broke with inflation, realizing their only out is gold. Funny how they figured it out. Nobody else is figuring it out, but they figure it out. And that's where it's all going, and that's where the gold will go through the roof. Zimbabwe gold that are nominated in milligrams can be used by both individuals and corporates to transaction. They can be bought from banks in local currency and in US dollars, while goods and services will also be priced in ZIG. Bank clients can transact using ZIG accounts through point-of-sale machine or via online payments. In May, Zimbabwe unveiled gold coins for peer-to-peer, that's me to you, and peer-to-business, going to the grocery store, as well as to act as the store of value as the country's currency continued to lose ground against major. So they're inflating their money, their paper money, and they realize the only way out's gold. Funny how they realize the same thing we've been teaching, right? Holders of physical gold coins are able to exchange and convert them through the banking system into gold-backed digital tokens. This latest intervention hit the market to lukewarm reception from economists who are Keynesians and ordinary Zimbabweans who foresee an inevitable return to dollarization. It'll never go back to, why would you want to go back to USD? You see what happens. You see with gold. But let's look at that. So the Zimbabwe dollar has, however, been losing value rapidly against major currencies. And this week is trading at Zimbabwe 5,252 to a dollar. Why would you go back to it? This is how bad your dollar is. It's 5,000 to 1. I give you a dollar, I get 5,000. You want your Zimbabwe, your Jenna in Zimbabwe. Here's a dollar. She gets 5,000 Zimbabwe dollars that are worthless, that won't buy her a cup of coffee. So then it goes, let's get to, so they're having a parallel market. They're having the dollar market, which is losing value, and the gold market, which is gaining value. So that's the only way out of inflation. And they still have huge inflations. See, then it says here, according to the U.S. famine early warning system, whatever that is, prices of some basic commodities increased by 20% in September. Yeah, paper, the paper money increased, not the gold money. Unbelievable. Here it is, Steve Hemke, and we've seen Steve Hemke on some of these shows. I think he was on with Mark McGuire, and he's on that other show with that idiot Liberty and Finance. Steve Hemke, a professor of economics at Johns Hopkins, so he's already a college professor, so you know he's a Keynesian, who has been tracking Zimbabwe currency troubles, says the country must dollarize as it did from 2009 to 2019. So the guy doesn't even understand gold. This is amazing. This is why I'm telling you, do not listen to this guy. This is the point I'm trying to make. You guys like Steve Hanke, yet he's a fucking moron and he's a Keynesian, right? Oh, they got to go back to, they got to use the US dollar. The US dollar is not going to be there for them. It's gone. Just stick with the gold. Why do you think they have the gold currency? But the Zimbabwe industries, big businesses are pushing the government to explore measures to stop the full dollarization of the economy. They don't want the US dollar, just leave us with the gold. See, and then they talk about, but the economy has been more dollarized due to the liquidity squeeze of the Zimbabwe. Nobody wants it. That's why. Just go to gold. Unbelievable. Foreign currencies denominated loans constituted 94%, whatever. So I thought that was so that shows you. So don't listen to this Hanke guy, and just be very careful with, who you listen to. What was that other one I was going to show you? So again, ignore this Michael Pinto. He's a Keynesian. He says the word deflation. He wants you in treasury. He owns treasury bills. He's in cash. He's a fucking moron. But he tries to come across like he knows what he's doing. So you got to be careful and not listen to the way they say it, but listen to what they say. And he is fucking clueless. So be very careful. If you hear these guys talking, and I know Reichert's like this, and they start talking deflation, turn it off, because they're Keynes. They don't know what they're talking about, and they're going to confuse you into thinking, oh, the inflation's coming. There's no such thing as deflation. If this is $100 is now $20, then that's the market. The market went down to 20. That's it. That's all it is. It's a market, right? The free market says this is what this is what it's worth, and it changes all the time. And if it's worth less, it's worth less. Doesn't mean deflation. Deflation doesn't mean anything. So again, it's just again, they're talking Keynesian and they don't know what they're talking about. And then this Kathy Wood, she's a fucking she's just an idiot. So you don't want to listen. And then you got to be careful with people like this. I watched her once to see the big deal. I realized she was an idiot, and I don't listen to her again. That Lynette Zing is also a fucking idiot. You got to be careful. These people don't know what they're talking about. They're not trained. I'm an economist. I got a master's in it. I'm trained in it, so I can smell the bullshit. I know what's going on, and I know what's going to happen. You print the money and print the money and print trillions of dollars, it's going to zero. That's it. There's no other option. That's why Zimbabwe's going to gold. And then they're bitching about the dollar going out. Who cares about the dollar? Own gold. Nobody should own the dollar. Now, repricing everything is the problem. So if I got the gold in Zimbabwe and I want to get a Coke, how do I buy it? That's why you need the dollar, I believe. Todd, on one more thing, that Georgia, Kentucky under, Georgia last few games have been killing our teasers. UAB, Auburn, Kentucky, the NFL draft showing that some power on that side of the ball. Well, I think what's happened is, and that's what we have to look at. We won the the Georgia, South Carolina under, and the other Georgias against the MAC teams. And then what happens is the quarterback gets a little bit better. And it's really not the Georgia defense. It's the Georgia offense is scoring 50 points, which is the whole under, right? So we won with the Auburn under because Auburn has a good defense, and South Carolina. So I felt comfortable there. Last week against Kentucky, I played it because Kentucky has a good defense too. I mean, they beat Florida 33-14. So I was like going, well, this, now it's SEC defense, not MAC defense. And you would think that Georgia would score, 20, 30 points. So that's what's getting. But now it's getting to the point. It's like Michigan last week. I've won every week with Michigan under. And then I get to the Michigan Minnesota game, and I'm noticing Minnesota's defense gave up 37 to Northwestern and 30 to the next team. I said, Michigan's going to score a ton on them. And the spread was 18. So I said, no, I'm going to take Michigan minus 12 instead of Michigan under. And I was right. Michigan scored 50 points. It was not an under, but we had minus 12 and we won the Michigan minus 12 because realizing Minnesota's defense wasn't that good. So, I think Georgia, this week they're playing, let's see, who's Georgia playing? They're playing Vanderbilt. I won't play. This is a 57. I won't play this under. I'll more than likely play Georgia, but they're laying 31, so it makes it difficult. But Vandy gives up 34 a game. Georgia's going to put up 60 points in this game, and the defense should hold Vandy down. So this is more of lay the 25 than go under the 63. But that's what we learned. We don't know it in the beginning against Auburn and South Carolina. They were unders, 27-20 to Auburn. So I'm thinking, oh, okay. And it's a new quarterback. So now we see he's hitting Brock Bowers all the time, and they're getting more points. So we adjust. But we've got to take what we're seeing and keep right. It's like we're at roulette and black sits 6 times in a row. We're going to play black. Oh, red hit. Oh, okay. Then we get off. So we play it until it dies, and it's just timing of it. But we won't play Georgia under, maybe against Alabama if they play in the conference championship. But otherwise, not against Tennessee, maybe against Florida. Florida doesn't have much of an offense, good defense. So we will see. But yeah, I mean, but we've won a lot of money on the Georgia under over the last two and a half years. So, but I'm not going to keep playing Georgia under. I'm seeing what's happening also, but that's, that happens. The NFL draft showing they lost some power on that side of the ball. No, not necessarily. We're not losing because what was the score last week? Georgia under. Georgia 51-13. The over-under was 54. So they held Kentucky to 13 points. The problem was Georgia scored 51 when before they would score 35. So this would have been 35-13, would have been a 48. We would have won it. But now they're putting up 50 points a game. That's really the problem, is the quarterback's a very good quarterback, and they're scoring a lot more points. That's the problem. They gave up 13 to Kentucky. Kentucky put up 38 on Florida. So, no, the defense isn't the problem. It's the offense is getting too good, which is okay. Then we just bet Georgia instead of the under. I just ate a turkey sandwich at this food court and now feel like sleeping. Yeah, you can't eat the bread, Bobby. And God knows what was on that sandwich. Bobby Bo is fading here, Professor. Well, have some water, have some coffee. But this is what happens, right? You eat the bread, which is sugar. And I know I do that. When I normally swim and then do the class, and then I have, dinner, anything sweet, like that kind of stuff. I'm right. Even my 90 chocolate, I'm falling asleep watching a movie on the couch. Yeah, so it's that's what does it to you. So if you're real sleepy, it's because of the sugar, which could be in the bread, not necessarily you're eating something sweet or a Coke or something. But yeah, be careful. Just, all I can say is if you're having turkey sandwiches, just take the fucking bread off and just eat the turkey. I know it's better with the sandwich, but that's the point. You're eating sugar. And that's the problem, eating the sugar. Hmm. Hmm. I just got a call, but too bad. Yeah, I used to like when I was working at Ford, I would about 3 o'clock, I'd get hungry and I'm eating um, chips or M&Ms or something. This is years ago. And I would be falling asleep in the car on the way home. I mean, I'd be like, I can't keep my eyes open. And that was diabetes. I didn't know I had it. And it was just the sugar, which causes you to go to sleep. I mean, that's what it is. That's why I say if you ever can't sleep, just have a little bit of honey. Have a spoonful of honey. You'll be out like a light because you really don't have sugar in the house. You think it's too late for a small black coffee, no sugar, or is it too late and will keep me up till 3 a.m.? Well, Bobby, it's only 1:25, and you're what? You're in Florida. It's 1:25 for you. No, it's not too late. Have a coffee. You can put half and half in it. I do. All right, so you can see what Zimbabwe is doing to solve their inflation. And obviously, if their dollar's losing value, see, there's nothing that can help them but gold. The only way out for the US is to have gold, but they won't do it because Keynesians don't understand it. Why do Keynesians not understand it? I scratched my head with that one. They know Keynesian doesn't work. It's already been proven many times it doesn't work. We'll print. Well, if it works, why is every country going bankrupt and has high debt? Because you keep printing, making the dollar worth less. So if you're doing that, what are you doing? So you got to be very careful trying to figure that out. So if you know it doesn't work, and then we're on the other ends of the coin going, well, we know gold works. Gold's always worked. Gold's never failed. 6,000 years has never failed and never will because it's limited, it's demanded, it's money, and it is money. So I don't get the whole point of it not working. But anyway, that's what it is. So let's just go through the line here in the NFL. Well, I read the rank. I got to type it in, which I'll do later. So we got KC 10.5. Okay, this really hasn't changed. 49. And Baltimore 3.5, 40.5, and Atlanta 2.5. So we kind of went through this yesterday. I'll just look for changes. I don't want to waste time going through every game. '49ers went from 48 to 39, not surprising, against Cleveland. So you saw Cleveland scores 15 and gives up 15, and they don't have Chubb. And we got the Niners who score like 30 and give up like 18, if that much. So you would think this would be a low scoring game, but this is what gets you in trouble if the Niners score 40 points on them. You wouldn't expect it, but you wouldn't have expected them to put up 42 on Dallas either. So to go back to the Georgia scenario, look at the Niners. They held Dallas to 10 points. It wasn't the defense. It was the offense. And that's, I think, what we're looking at with Georgia, and Michigan's getting better offensively. So the best under games are like New Orleans, Houston. They don't score and they got good defenses. That, I think, is the only way to bet the under. And that's what I'm struggling with is the A team unders. Do I want to play an A team who's like Oregon, Washington? Do I want to play teams that score 40 points a game in an under game, even though their defense gives up 15? And the answer is I don't think so. I don't. I think that's when you ignore the under part of it. And they're going to score, and I don't think their defenses can stop each other. So then I think you don't look at it as an under game because they're A against A, and you look at it as a dog game. So I think I'll take Oregon at 9 before I go under. Even though the defenses are giving up 10 and 15, we just saw the Dallas game. Now, Dallas didn't show up because they got a guy named Dak Prescott who sucks. Bitmore got blood work done numerous times past few months and no diabetes, but still passing out here. Well, you might not have diabetes. I don't even know if they know how to measure it, but do you have feet problems or knees? Do your feet get tingly? It's a circulation problem, and then it's just your blood sugar and your blood pressure is high. So if your blood pressure is fine, then you don't have it. But if you're falling asleep after eating lunch, there's something not. Why would you fall asleep after eating? I eat here. I don't fall asleep. Although when I go on the couch and I put a movie on and I have popcorn or something, I will fall asleep. I'm pissed. I forgot to get my pita bread yesterday. I went to the store and I got bananas and I got avocados and I didn't get the fucking pita bread. It's a nice snack. Afternoon, Luke. Just some more mining stocks and just sold some more mining stocks. Purchased another monster box. Well, that's good, Luke. Yeah, I mean, you can buy the stocks later on, but right now it's going to be sell everything, right? Bobby Bo, yes, it's more of what I ate, a lot of carbs and BS. Yeah, well, be careful. Like you're better off getting a turkey salad, right? Or making what I do a lot is I got all the salad ingredients and I either put them in my omelets or I make a salad. And then what I'll do is put the chicken or the turkey or the hamburger on the salad. And then I don't have any bread here, just that little pita bread. And it's only 14 carbs. So that's all I have. But that's all I do with that. But yeah, you got to be careful on the carbs. So like I went for a hamburger, was it Friday night? And it came and I just dumped the bun and I had the burger and it had onions on it and I just cut it up and ate it like I would eat a steak. And that's it. So, that's why I like getting chicken a lot. It's a nice meal. And then I get coleslaw or a salad with it. I don't get the fries. Once in a blue moon you can, but not normally. But anyway, that's what you should do. So you got another monster box. Did they have gold? You didn't want gold? When we go to Switzerland to meet Egon, you're going to want some ounces of gold to take with. You're not going to put the monster box on the airplane. But no, it's still cheap silver, of course. And it should start. You saw Zimbabwe with the gold-backed currency. So it's not really gold-backed currency. It's actually gold coins. And that's what China's going to and Russia's going to. So it'll be very interesting versus gold-backed currency to have actual gold, like Zimbabwe does. And alligator, yeah. Well, I don't know if alligator will be in Switzerland. We're going to Switzerland. We want to have lunch with Egon. I don't know if alligator will be there, and I don't want to go to Britain. I have no desire to go to Britain. Never liked Britain. So we will see. So let's see here. New Orleans down to 1.5. Jacksonville 4 over Indy 46. Miami 13.5, 48. That didn't move. Oakland. How can Oakland be favored over anybody? Even New England. I don't see how Garoppolo. So Garoppolo's there because Josh. What's his name? The Oakland coach had him at New England 5 years ago. I mean, really, this is the best you can come up with, is getting somebody that knows your system because you're too stupid to teach your system to anybody. Detroit. Now this is interesting. Detroit being a road favorite. I'm not ready for that yet. You got to be kidding me. The Rams 6.5. I like the Rams. And this is a good bet. The Eagles 6.5 against the Jets in New York. I might have to keep going with the Jets till I lose. I've hit them every week. And I was watching the highlights of that game. They kicked like 20 field goals in the game. So Zach Wilson doesn't know how to get him in the end zone, but he gets him down close. I mean, this is against Denver you're not scoring on. Buffalo 14 over the Z team Giants. And Dallas 2.5, 51.5. You're making Dallas. You're giving me San Diego as a home dog. I'm so excited. What was Seattle? So Cincinnati is still favored against Seattle. Seattle 2.5, 46. Although Burrow looked pretty good against Seattle. Okay. So not much, but we do have our rankings for these teams now. So we know the worst team is the Giants. They give up 38 points. No, they give up like 33, and Denver gives up 38. So Kansas City's going to go march up and down the field on them. So when you look for upsets, your upsets are going to happen in the Jet game with that defense. Houston, New Orleans could be an upset. That's about it. There's no way the Bears are beating Minnesota with that defense. In Baltimore, Tennessee, you could get the offense with Tennessee. Again, that game's in London. And it's rough because how do you play Buffalo this week, laying 14 to the Giants? How do you play Jacksonville, laying 4.5 to Indy after being in London for 2 weeks? They're so fucked up on their time clock. They don't, to them, it's like now 1:30 is 8:30. It's already 8:30 at night, and they're trying to get back into U.S. time. It's extremely difficult. It's extremely stupid. I really honestly don't understand what the fuck they're doing. Oh, it's for money. What, they're not making money? I don't know. The other thing is, who's going to these games? Who has $150 to go to a Lions game? Are they giving out the tickets for free? And then it looks like they're people in the stands. Who has $150 to take the spouse and the 2 kids? So it's $600. Then go eat a $10 hot dog and a $20 beer or Coke. So you're spending $1,000 to go see the Lions play a football game. That's a half ounce of gold I could be buying and taking care of my family that I'm blowing it on the Lions. Lucas, I think more upside potential with silver, percentage-wise, yes, not dollars-wise. I don't think you can ever go wrong with U.S. Constitutional American Silver Eagle. No, I'm not saying that either. I'm not planning on transferring to another country. Well, we're not transferring. We're just flying there to cash in our money. Hey, Bobby, have you been buying any Eagles? Bobby's sleeping right now, so we'll get him when he wakes up. I'm not saying you can go wrong with it. I think let me put it this way. More upside potential percentage-wise in silver, not dollar-wise. So because silver is $24, It goes up 100%. That's $50. Let's call it 25. Goes up 100%. It's 50. Goes up 200%, 75. 300% is $100. So it goes up 300%. I follow you. Gold at 2,000 an ounce goes up 50%. It's 4,000. So on a percentage basis, silver will, it has to get to 2,000, 3,000. Gold, even if it goes up to 20,000, has only gone up 500%. You're going to get much higher percent on silver. Understood that. But that's really, on the other hand, though, if you buy the gold if you buy a half ounce at 1,000 and gold goes to 10,000, that's worth 5,000. So you make more money on the gold, but not necessarily on a percent side. So yes, on a percent size, you're going to make a lot on silver, but your $25 will go to 1,000, let's say, where the 2,000 ounce of gold goes to 10,000. And it's just simple like that. So that's kind of what that's kind of the way to look at it. So yes, on a percentage basis, of course, silver is higher, but for the $1,000, I'm going to make a lot more on the gold than I'm going to make on the silver at 20. Well, the silver goes from 25 to 1,000. I made it 10%, but it's still only $1,000 ounce. Or if I buy $1,000 ounce of gold, it's now worth 5,000. So I didn't make the percentage, but now I got something worth 5,000 versus $25 going to 1,000. I have 10 eagles, but a lot of different coins, such as maples. Yeah, Bobby diversifies his portfolio into different countries of silver. You convinced me to get rid of some more miners for physical. Thank you. I think you're on the same page as far as I want gold and silver, but what you're not understanding is when they sell their stocks, the 90 trillion outside the US, it's just a dump. They're not saying, well, sell all of them but my miners. It's, I got to get out of US dollars, so sell everything. Just sell the portfolio. That's what they tend to do. I think in the 2008 crash, that's what they did. They just sold everything. They weren't selective because it's a panic, right? Everybody's realizing they're on the Titanic and they're realizing, oh, fuck, the boat's going down. Well, wait, let me go back to the room and get my wallet. I mean, no, they're just jumping off the boat. So once the frenzy happens, they're just dumping, right? Let me get off the boat. So you're in Germany. Just let me get out of the dollar, sell it all. So that's all you're trying to do is sell your dollars. And so you want to sell your stocks. You're going to sell all your stocks. Then you can come in at the end and buy it. Absolutely. And I'm saying that's a good idea. I'm not arguing that point, but that's what'll happen is they'll sell all their stocks and then start buying back. And they'll buy the gold and then they'll start buying back the stocks, but they're not going to, even if it's at $10, it's going to go down to $2 or $3. Then you can buy it there and it'll jump back to 10. But if you're in gold and silver, you're going to get the boom on the gold and silver anyway. And you'll be off the books. Nobody will know you have it. Where in the stocks, everybody knows, oh, Luke owns 1,000 shares of Newmont Mining or whatever. I'm a switch hitter, so I like to switch it up with my silver buying. So you're like a silver bat, right, Bobby? Now 42% physical, 36% junior miners. Well, I'm 99% gold and silver and 1% cash in the safe. And then 5% my baseball cards. Yeah, don't listen to Peter Schiff, Luke. Afternoon, TK. Did I miss football? Not really. I just went through the NFL, sort of what the teams are. So, in other words, like San Francisco's the A team and the Giants are the Z team. So I went through that quickly, and I just went through the line. But we've been talking a lot of like Zimbabwe has gold now, and stay away from Linwood and this Pinto guy and Peter Schiff and all these. They're Keynesians, but they try to come across like they know, like this Kathy Wood tries to say like she knows what she's talking about, and she just went bankrupt. She just closed her account. And this Lynette Zhang is another, they're just stockbrokers. You don't want to listen to stockbrokers. You need to listen to Austrian economists, which is me, but good luck finding them. None of these guys, Reichert, Rick Rude, Peter Schiff, none of them are economists. They're all well, Rude is a credit analyst and Reichert's an attorney. What do they know about Austrian economics? Maloney doesn't, he's not even educated. Even Alligator is not an Austrian economist. He's a stockbroker who was a director of a bank. So he knows how the banks work, but he's not, I don't think he understands. He kind of understands inflation, but he keeps calling it the purchasing power of the money instead of inflation. And he gets to buy gold. But Egon, I think, is an economist. Egon's the one that we really want to listen to the most, I think. Luke, I think soon enough you won't be able to attain any physical. Well, no, you'll always be able to attain it. It'll be at what price? So keep in mind, I went into the gold store Saturday, and the guy says, "We need eagles. Do you have any eagles? 1 ounce U.S. gold." And I said, "I do. I got a bunch, but not at this price. At 2,000 an ounce, I'm not selling you my gold." I says, "You put a zero at the end of it, and it's 20,000. Maybe I can sell you 1 or 2 of them." So it depends on the price. So you'll be able. What'll happen is the price will zoom up because the demand will be there, like anything else, and there's no supply. And then at what point does the demand and the supply equal? So in other words, I have my gold and the price is here. At what point does this gold become available? Well, it ain't going to be available at 2,000 an ounce. I'll never sell it at that price. So then we finally dance until the price comes to the price I'm willing to give it up at. And that starts with the 20 and ends at a 50. And but again, I don't want this. If this is my alternative, is to sell my gold for 20,000 of this, that's what I'm running from. I don't want to have 20,000 of this. So I'd have to go buy more gold, which I don't want to do at 20,000 an ounce. So if they don't have new currency by then, I don't really want to sell my gold and go back into the, I don't want to like get off the, so I'm in the Titanic. I get off into the lifeboat, that's gold. And then somebody says, "Well, I'll pay for your seat." Well, I don't want to go back into the Titanic. I just got out of it. I don't want to go back into the sinking ship. No thanks. I'm in the thing until there's another ship that comes. Then I'll get out of my seat and I'll go into this new ship. But I don't want to go back into the Titanic. And I think that's the key to it. And we'll go from there. But that's really, what am I going to get into? So I'm hoping to get, they'll have to come out with new money. That's what Zimbabwe does. Now they're all bitching. They got gold and they're all, or they got the new gold coin, but they still have the Zimbabwe dollar, which is losing value against the U.S. And they either need to just go to the gold and then start pricing milk and bread in gold, or have a new currency that is backed by the gold. This way you can have different denominations, or backed by silver. See, silver's kind of, we can go to Target and we can go to Meijer and we can go to Kroger's with, because that's the problem. You're not going to price, this is not going to be a half ounce of gold. This is maybe a an ounce of silver. But even that, once silver hits 2,000 an ounce, this is not going to be an ounce of silver. But you can't, I'm not going to give you an ounce of gold for the Canadian club. Maybe an ounce of silver, but even that. So the whole market is going to have to be repriced. What is it that I'm going to sell this for? Right now, it's 50 of these. But once we get rid of this, now what do I sell it for? How do I determine the silver price of this or the gold price of this? This is why you always need this, because you need this in small enough denominations to buy this. But I can't use, what am I going to do with, how much silver do I need to buy it? And it's probably less than an ounce. Probably most things, milk, bananas, broccoli. I mean, it's not going to be an ounce of silver. It'll be, a 20th of an ounce, right? But they'll have to price everything differently. That's going to be a motherfucker. I don't know how they're going to do that, because that seems really, really difficult to redo your market. Like I showed you in eBay, you got the Montana rookie cards 125 in the free market. Somebody has a 10, that's what he's selling it for. Somebody has a 9 and he's selling it for 10 grand. But that's what the market indicates. But to just go back and now reprice all the food in the grocery store or gas, I mean, it's gonna be a motherfucker, because I don't know how long that's gonna take. That's why they'll come out with a new dollar and just say, oh, okay, the prices are half, right? So now bananas went from $1 to 50 cents or whatever. Coca-Cola went from $5 to $2. I mean, they'll try to do it simple. Things like houses and cars, who knows? I mean, that's the thing. You got to realize your house will be worthless. It'll have to be repriced in gold and silver, not in dollars. And that's what all these chuckleheads don't understand, who are saying, oh, buy stocks. I mean, they're still blindsided. I was just watching The Big Short for the 10th time, and none of them caught that in 97, Clinton, and I showed you that clip, right? Clinton said in 97, we want everybody to be able to buy a house, even if they have no income and no credit. And Janet Reno was suing these companies for declining the people. So why would they come out with this mortgage-backed security, knowing they're giving out loans to people that can't afford that or have no credit, and they can afford the adjustable rate mortgage in the beginning at the 1-2%, but as soon as that wears off and it goes to a normal 4-6%, none of them can afford it. So who's the idiot selling real estate trust? And then it still took till 2008 to collapse, which is a joke. And then they're surprised about the bailouts. Well, of course they're going to be bailout. Who runs the government? The banks do. So of course the banks are gonna bail out the banks, because they're the banks. They're the ones, and they didn't. That's what blew my mind on this The Big Short. All these, none of them understood how the game's played. None of them understood that the banks run the government. So of course the banks are going to bail out themselves, because they're the ones in charge in the first place. So they're like, oh yeah, the government's going to bail them out. I'm like, what are you talking about? The JP Morgan runs the show. Of course, JP Morgan's going to bail out JP Morgan, which is the whole reason they did the whole housing scam, was because they knew they were going to get bailed out. The government promised them, we'll bail you out if the loans go bad. But we want everybody we want to get votes, so we're going to give everybody a house. People got houses, they voted for them. That's what it's all about. It's always all about that. So don't know what to say with that, but that's what you're looking at. So why are they surprised that the banks / government bailed out the banks? Of course they were going to bail them out, because they're the ones running the show. The difference is now, I don't know that you have the real estate problem, and you can't print the money because of the debt. So you're fucked if you're a bank now and you think you're going to get bailed out, because there's nothing to bail you out. Yeah, they can give you $10 billion or $50 billion, but it's nothing. the interest rates on the bonds are all going up. So that means the price drops. So if the interest rate went from 0% to 5, the price goes from 100 to 70. You just lost $30 a bond. You're fucked. There's still an inverted yield curve, which means it's better to buy a 2-year bond than a 10-year bond. Well, that doesn't make sense. You want to go out 10 years to get a higher interest rate. But if you're not going to get the higher interest rate, why would anybody buy a 10-year bond? I can get more interest before all the inflation eats up the dollars by doing a 2-year. I'll do a 2-year. I get 5%, but I only get 4% for 10 years, and my money goes to zero with the inflation. But that's why they don't tell you about inflation. They don't want you to know. It's a whole big fucking Madoff. So just understand the concepts, right? But we do need the paper. So how do we price everything? We do need the paper. We need something like this. We need the medium of exchange. How are we going to do it with silver? I mean, you can't come up with a 10th ounce silver and a 1/4 ounce silver. I suppose what the Romans did, milk was probably a 1/10 of an ounce of silver, probably a dime. And then a 1/4 probably bought you some meat, and then a $50 bought you some other things, and then $1 bought you a suit. And they probably did the same with gold. So if you wanted a house, it was probably 2 ounces of gold. You didn't have cars back then, so you didn't need that. No gas, no cars. So I was probably mostly buying food and clothes. I don't even know if they had mortgages. I mean, I don't know. What did you do in the Roman Empire? That's probably what they did. So they just had dimes and quarters and halves of silver and gold, and that's what you used to buy things. And you would price it in that. So milk was probably a dime, right? But a silver dime. That's probably how they priced it, because that's what they had for money. We're fucked up because we have this. And what do we keep saying? Well, it won't be priced in this. It's going to be priced in the new currency / gold. Digital won't work. And there was something else I was reading. I think it was in that Zimbabwe thing where it said, if people don't have confidence, it won't work. I think they were talking about digital. I don't know if it was that article or another Russian article or something, but it was basically the money won't work if people don't have confidence in it. And that's what's going to happen here. Nobody will have confidence in the dollar. I don't know anybody why in God's name they would believe Boog Powell or Biden or any of those idiots. How do you trust anything that comes out of their mouths? They're all crooks. So you got to get over that. You got to get over believing what the government says is truthful, because we know that's bullshit. They're Keynesians anyway. They think, we won't have gold. We'll just keep printing money. Not a problem. They don't understand the concept of once you keep printing, it goes to zero, and you're missing that whole concept. So it's an easy concept, but for some reason people don't get it or don't want to get it, or do get it but don't say they get it. I know Alan Greenspan, when he worked for the Fed, was a gold guy, but then when he worked for the Fed, he couldn't be a gold guy. And so then he's a Keynesian, and then when he gets done, he's back to a gold guy, which kind of makes no sense. So this is the problem with politics and everything else. So keep that in mind. Reading about all the bullshit, it's like Trump's going through, and what's the point of even voting when you can't get a fair election? And I don't know how we'll get a fair election. At this point, we won't. At this point, they're trying to kill the country. That's why I'm looking at other countries. Again, I don't know, my girlfriend in Hungary is all worried about what's happening in Israel coming to Hungary and killing them. And I'm like, okay, calm down. They're not going to, I'm not aware that they're going to go into your house in Hungary and kill you and your daughter. I find that a little hard to believe. She says she's looking for shelter and weapons. And I'm like, dude, they're not. Okay, maybe if they do, I mean, I hope they don't. But if they do, you got to be fucking kidding me. She said, my brother's in Germany. And I says, well, you got to get out because they're going to be bankrupt. Germany is going through bankruptcy. So I don't know. I think all Europe's getting fucked over by these crazies also. I don't know. So I'm trying to go to Greece, I think, but waiting for Jenna. But anyway, that's what's happening, right? So the dollar's collapsing. You just buy gold and silver, you get off the radar, and then we'll have to figure out how to buy things with it. One thing for sure is we'll have the value, right? The gold will be worth a fortune. So we then have to figure out how much is a gallon of gas, and what is it an ounce of silver to fill your car, or what is it? This isn't clear to us. All right. So we touched on the pro football. Why don't we check pro injuries, I guess? If you have more economics questions, feel free. Ockney, the running back for Miami, is out for a few games, I think. Let's see, is Arizona? There's only 2 teams off this week. Let's go. James Conner, the running back's out. Buda Baker, the safety's out with the hamstring. And, of course, Kyler Murray. Atlanta's pretty healthy. Baltimore. Just J.K. Dobbins. Buffalo. So let's see how Von Miller's doing. Mike Milano's out for the year, the linebacker. So they get Von Miller back and they lose him. And I don't see Von Miller on the injured list, so that's good. Couple defensive ends, couple of tight ends. Kincaid, the guy from Utah, that was a good pick. He's out. He's questionable with a concussion. So Buffalo has Von Miller back. He's not on the injured list, so he played and didn't get re-injured. Carolina, they don't get anybody that you would know the name of. The Bears. Nobody we know. Cincinnati, Higgins, questionable with ribs, but it's too early in the week. But Burrow's not on there. Burrow looked pretty good. I watched. Cleveland, Deshaun Watson, probably with the shoulder. Chubb's out. Let's see. Dallas has a lot of cornerbacks out. Another quarterback, Diggs, is out. Another cornerback's out. A lot of cornerbacks. Denver, are they playing this week? I don't know if they are. Oh, yeah, they're playing Kansas City. Nothing major. Detroit. St. Brown, the receiver, questionable with an abdomen. The running back from Alabama, hamstring. Green Bay, are they playing this week? What a bad game that was yesterday. Green Bay and Oakland. Are you kidding me? No, I think Green Bay is off this week. Houston. Stingley, your boy from LSU's out, Bobby. He's got the hamstring, the dreaded hamstring. Indy, Richardson's out with the shoulder. See, I prefer Indy now with whatchamacallit as the quarterback. Minshew, I think he's much better quarterback. And Carolina should be starting Dalton. Indy's got at Jacksonville with Minshew. That's a much better team with Minshew. And let's see. No idea. Jacksonville, back from London. Kansas City for Thursday night. Kelsey, questionable with an ankle. Now, I don't understand this. They played Thursday night against the Lions week 1. Now they're playing another Thursday? What the fuck's going on? I'm sure they love this let's go play Thursday crap. San Diego, Derwin James, safety, questionable with the hamstring. Bosa, questionable with the hamstring. Leonard, defensive back, questionable with the hamstring. This is too funny. Eckler's out. The Rams, they're pretty healthy. Oakland. Miami. Ahmed. So Ahmed's the running back from A&M. He's really good. Questionable with a groin. I thought he was out. I don't know why he says questionable. Oh, no, it's Acne. Acne's questionable with the knee. So they got Ahmed and Acne, or Akane. But Akane's the one from A&M. He's questionable with the knee. I thought he was out. Minnesota. Jefferson. Ooh, Jefferson hurt his hamstring. We got to note that. Where's Minnesota? Minnesota. Jefferson out. That's the one player that they can't be without. And that fucks up the bet. Because I was going to bet them over big because the Bears can't stop the win and they've been scoring, and Minnesota can't stop the win and they've been scoring. And the one thing you don't want to lose in this game was Jefferson. Fuck. See, this is what happens when you're trying to bet, right? All of a sudden, here's the perfect game. You just want everybody healthy, and here Jefferson's hurt. And that's the problem. The Giants, the worst team. Daniel Jones, questionable with the neck. I don't even know who their backup is. Barkley out till October. The Jets, Jets. My team. Tackle, questionable. Running back. Aaron Rodgers is out with an ankle, in case anybody didn't know that. I hope he comes back this year. New England, Boutte, wide receiver, LSU, hamstring, questionable. Smith-Schuster, questionable. Trey Flowers out. What a great coach Belichick is. How many playoff games has he won since Brady? Oh, yeah, 0? Yeah. New Orleans. Nothing really. Philly. Playing my Jets. Fletcher Cox, questionable. He was out last week. That's about it. Pittsburgh. Freiermuth, hamstring. It's amazing how many guys you believe have hamstring injuries. Again, I don't know how you prove it, and I don't know if they're real, but every team's got about 10 guys with the hamstring. The Niners, they're very healthy. Yeah, they're good. Seattle. Couple of linemen out. Kenny McIntosh, who knows, out. Tampa Bay, couple of corners questionable. Mike Evans, the receiver, questionable. Russell Cage, receiver, IR. And then Tennessee. And Washington. Do they have any players at all? Yeah, I don't see anybody on Washington that would bother us. I think soon enough you won't be able to attain any physical. Like I said, there's always a price you'll be able to get it at. And their paper price of gold and silver is down today. All right, Luke, stop looking at that. It's pointless. It's derivative paper. It's not real. It doesn't prove anything for physical. How about mortgage rates? How about them, Bobby? They're what, 10%? When will they work their way down? They won't work their way down. Are we not talking English to you, Bobby? I told you, you asked me, are rates coming down? And I said, no, because inflation. If I loan you 10 grand and I don't want to get paid back 10 grand in inflated dollars, it'd be like getting paid back 5,000. So I got to raise the rate. Inflation hasn't gone anywhere. It's still 20%. So why would interest rates go down? So they're not coming down. So just understand, interest rates are not coming down. Your mortgage rate will not go down. I think it was like 8 or 9%, but who knows what that means? Is that for people with excellent credit, and then the rest of us pay 8, 9, 10%, or we don't care if they have no job and no money, we'll still give it to them at 7 or 8%. So it's about 7 or 8. Titus, you called that Packers game right on the nose, dog and under. I do that a lot, Titus. Everybody that's questionable going to take the shot, so they playing. Well, in the NFL, you're getting paid, and the biggest fear is if I don't play, well, my backup, is it going to be Lou Gehrig? And I'm going to, there's Wally Pipp. He gets hurt. Lou Gehrig comes in, and Wally Pipp is never seen again. So there's always that, yeah, they're hurt. But if there's a backup and the backup looks good because he gets his chance, then you lose your job and you lose your money. So there's much more incentive when you're getting paid to play a little bit hurt. Not, you got to pull the hamstring, you can't run. That's one thing. But if it's something that you can play with, then they play. There was that Super Bowl with the Rams and the Steelers, 1980 or 79, where Jack Youngblood played with a broken leg. His foot was broken. He played the whole game. And then we know Terrell Owens played the Super Bowl with a broken foot. So if they can do it and get it taped up and get the shot, they'll play. And, because that's who I would draft, is players that want to play, not these guys that sit out the bowl games. Like I said, I would never draft the guy that sits out the bowl game because he's worried about getting hurt. What's he going to do on my team when there's a big play I need and he's afraid to get hurt? If he's afraid to get hurt there, he's afraid to get hurt always. Well, wait a minute, I need to stop. It's 4th and 1, and this guy's not going to make the stop because he's afraid to get hurt. I don't want him on my team. I want a guy who's a football player who's going to make the play. Well, they usually take the shot and wrap it up. So, yeah, that's if they can, if it won't hurt them anymore. But that's exactly what happens. And but you're playing pro football. So I talk about the game, right? And mostly with women, where we try to understand the game they're playing. And if you're going to play pro football, the game is you're going to get hurt. It's a contact sport. You're going to have to take the shot. And you're not going to sleep well, and your body is going to be broken, but you get paid $1 million. Would you do it? And that's the game. You want to play, you're going to take the needle, you're going to take the painkillers. Go watch North Dallas 40. It's on Tubi. I like that movie. But that's what it is. So you realize that's the game. It's not just playing football. It's the shot. It's the practice. It's getting hurt. It's trying to sleep. All that is the game. And either you want to play it or not. If you don't want to take the needles, you don't play the game. Go look for another job. Go play, as I say, go play golf. I love that everybody in preseason is so scared to get hurt. Go play golf. Go. You won't get hurt in golf. Unless you're Tiger Woods, he doesn't get hurt in golf. He gets hurt driving his car. Apparently, he can't drive his car straight. He keeps getting in these accidents. But, Jack Nicklaus, I don't think ever really got hurt, but he didn't play every week. He would play a week on, a week off, and then get ready for the majors, and he won those. But that's really what you're trying to do. Is I got a little pain in my side, my top, middle of my back on the side. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I get these pains lately. You get older, you start getting these weird pains. So, I'll fast. But anyway, so again, it's the same thing with girls and work. there's all these poker. It's all games. You're going to have to do certain things, and you're going to, like I said in that movie, the guy gets jealous because the girl talks to her boss at work. Not a guy, it wasn't a date. She's working, and the guy is talking to her, and the guy's jealous, and he gets mad and upset, and he's got to learn. They both have to learn. She's got to learn he's going to get jealous. Do I want to play that game? And he's got to learn she's going to talk to other guys. Does he want to play that game? And apparently neither of them wanted to play the game, but they got into a game they didn't understand. That's why you have to be, I think me and Jenna and me and Daria understand our games pretty well. And I'm very good at making it so you understand the game. But that's really critical. I see that guy I saw in the hot tub who said he's getting married, and I tried to explain the game to him. I said, why? He couldn't. I love the girl. And yeah, okay, well, that'll last you about 6 months. Then what? The love doesn't stay. Even the sex gets boring. So you've got to have a better reason to get married than that. But the women marry for the money, and the men marry for the sex. The girl gets older, doesn't look as good, puts on some weight. So the guy goes around, and the girl wants money, and you lose your job, and then she finds another rich guy and says, see you later. It was fun. And that's the problem with the whole game. Nobody understands it. So you've got to do that. But it's in everything. Football betting, we understand. You've got coaches like the Miami coach who can't take a knee, wants to run, cause a fumble, and you lose your money line bet. Reason number 72, I don't like money line bets. Now, I didn't bet the money line, but Bobby pointed out if you did, you'd be really pissed. If you lost the 10-team money line parlay because you had Miami even in a 20-point or a 20-point favorite against Georgia Tech, and they lose because the coach doesn't take a knee, you got to kill yourself, or you'd be killing the Miami coach. So you've just got to understand all the games, and that's football. We understand pretty well, at least I do. But nothing surprises me very often. However, I'm very good at seeing what it is and adjusting, and off we go. Pros, I've adjusted pretty well now. I know I'm not taking Green Bay. Detroit's a little better than I thought. Chicago's the over team we thought. The Niners are the best. Kansas City's not scoring like they did. They don't have the receivers. Carolina, obviously these new teams with the quarterbacks, including Green Bay with Love and Steve Young at Carolina and Stroud and Richardson, who keeps getting hurt, and all these teams. So we have to learn them. We don't know their game yet. So now we're at week 6. We pretty much have a better idea of their game. We know Love sucks. We know Young sucks. Richardson, he seems to score. Indy is going to play Minshew because Richardson keeps getting hurt. Stroud throws for a lot of yards, but not for any points. So that's a unique one. They run little 10-yard patterns, so he throws, but when he gets in the red zone, he doesn't get touchdowns. So they're an under team, even though Stroud will throw for 250 yards. When you look at his touchdowns, it's like 3 touchdowns is all he's got. He doesn't have a lot. The other guy that has that is Riley Leonard on Duke. He doesn't have a lot of throwing touchdowns, but they have a lot, and they play good defense. There was somebody else, some big name that doesn't have a lot of touchdowns, but you think he should. You think he'd have 10 now, but he's got 3. I can't remember which guy it was, but it's the team that runs a lot. God, what was that team? Wisconsin, Mordecai. You'd have thought he'd have had 20 touchdowns because that's what he did at SMU, and he's got 3. But then you realize when they get in the red zone, they run it with the running back who's got 15 touchdowns. So Mordecai is very accurate, gets the ball into the 10, and then they run it in with the other guy, and that's how they're scoring. So Yeah, if you just looked at Mordecai, you'd say, "Oh, this guy's no good." But if you know him from SMU, you know he is. And he's making a lot of good plays. So, anywho, uh, let's just take a look at the big college game. We got college tonight. Before I didn't see a line on it. Let's see if we got a line. We do have a line. Middle Tennessee is now 354 to Louisiana Tech. App State is 5.5, 60 to Coastal Carolina. And Liberty is 6.5, 58 to Jacksonville State. So if we look at the teams tonight, we have Middle Tennessee as Z team against an over team in Lou Tech. So Lou Tech should be a good play here. I think their quarterback Bachmeyer was injured, but he sucks anyway from Boise. That's the thing with the transfer portal guys. They're usually not really good. They're not the starters, right? Okay, Mordecai came over, and Hartman came over. Those are the exceptions, but a lot of those guys came over weren't really the star players, so they come into this other team like Bachmeyer from Boise. He sucked at Boise. He lost his starting job. He transfers to L-Tech, and he sucks there because he's not a good quarterback. Now, sometimes you get a Hartman, and again, the problem with Hartman is we're expecting the Wake Forest Hartman who threw 40 touchdowns, and we're getting the Notre Dame version with their shitty offensive coordinator, and he doesn't have he's not scoring like he did at Wake. They're running different plays, and they want to run the ball more, and it's a little bit different. It's sort of like Van Dyke 2 years ago to Van Dyke last year. They changed the offense, so everything he was really good at, they get rid of, and you're like, what the fuck are they doing? Titus, Professor, have you ever thought about making memes, shirts, gonna take the shot? This is why we bet the game before the game. This is a joke. Take the knee. No, I don't what are memes? I don't really know what they are. I don't really pay much attention to this stuff now, but whatever you're thinking, Titus. We can do whatever. So Liberty's 6.5, 58.5. Liberty's an A team. Jacksonville State's a B team. Liberty should win. Now they've got the Coastal Carolina coach and a good quarterback, and they're playing well. Both teams are an 18 defense, and but it's an A and a B. So again, I'm getting confused on these strong defenses that are 18. So they have a strong offense and a strong defense. Which one do you pay attention to? And that's really the problem. I think Liberty wins the game even, but it's at Jacksonville State. Coastal Carolina is a B team. App State's an over team. App State 5.5. App State gives up 30. Coastal Carolina gives up 23. You got a 60 over under. I think you go over on this game because App State scores a lot. So now this is the problem. This is the first chance I've had to see the line. It wasn't there this morning. So that's now you got to soak it in. Let's go to the big games. Let's see what's changed there. Tulane 4.5, 56 against Memphis. That's a real good game. Colorado 10.5, 59.5 to Stanford. This is another game where I think I'll take Colorado over the over in the game. Again, we know Colorado doesn't have offense, but Stanford doesn't have a quarterback or offense. And Colorado should light them up because Stanford's a Z team, I believe. So, yeah, Stanford's a Z, gives up 35 a game, and Colorado is an over, gives up 34. But I don't think Stanford scores enough for you. Sort of like the Nebraska game when Colorado won 39-10 or something. where it didn't go over, but Colorado got the win. I think that's what you're going to see here. It's a low number, 10.5, really. Florida State 17.5 over Syracuse. Syracuse really fell when they started playing good teams. They didn't show up against Clemson. They didn't show up against North Carolina, and they're not going to show up against Florida State. Michigan 33.5, 46 over under. I think that's too low. I think Michigan can get 40 points on their own, and it might be a better bet than trying to lay 27. But we'll talk more about that. Rutgers 5.5, 40.5 over Michigan State. I like Rutgers there. Rutgers is not bad. Michigan State's terrible. And I think they got Michigan coming up next week. Cincinnati 4.5, 45 to Iowa State. Iowa State. I think they're a live dog here. They're a pretty good dog normally. They've had a few of these strange games where they like Texas, they give up 60, but I think last week they played normal. They beat TCU, so I think they'll make adjustments. I think Iowa State's a good dog here. Ohio State 20-50 against Purdue. I don't know what Ohio State is yet. They still don't have an offense. What did they do last? Oh, yeah, they beat Maryland like 37-17 or something. They won by 20 over Maryland, but they scored 20 in the fourth quarters because they were like 17-17. So I like Ohio State. They're not typical Ohio State. So you got to realize that, right? Alabama 20 over Arkansas 46.5. I think Alabama starting to play that strong defense. Milrose is starting to look better. I think they beat Arkansas. Arkansas is not looking as good with Jefferson as I thought they would be. Georgia 31-55 to Vanderbilt. Georgia's the best team. Vanderbilt, they score, but they have a weak defense. I think Georgia kills them. Cal and Utah. I'm confused here. Utah's laying 13.5 makes me believe that Rising's playing because why would they be 13.5? Let's see if Rising is on the injury list or if he's playing. He's still out with the knee, but again, until the doctor says yes. So it's a strange point spread. Why would they be 13 points over anybody? They can't score. So again, I think in this game, and let's see what Cal is. Cal's an over team. They give up 31, and they can score. They're not going to score against Utah. If Rising's out, this is still an under because you can't score on it. Cal doesn't have a quarterback. They run it. They're not going to run on Utah. Not with this defense. This is an 11 defense. They're not running on it. And this is not an A against A where they're very strong. Utah's got no offense without Rising. Cal really doesn't have much of an op. Their defense is weak, but Utah really won't be able to take advantage of it. So I think this is a good under. Tennessee A&M, very good game. Tennessee at home, 3.5, 55. A&M's quarterback looked really good against Alabama. Tennessee, they should light it up. Probably an over 55, 49, could be. Florida, South Carolina, 2.5, 51.5. Florida's got no offense. Graham Mertz sucks. I don't know how good Rattler is for South Carolina. It's a tough game. We'll have to figure that out. Penn State, 42-56 against UMass. You know, they're going to kill them, but once you're up 50, do you let the second team in and then you win by 30 is always the question with that. Miami is a dog, Detroit, getting 4.5. We can get 10.5 with Army is usually a pretty good bet. The max we'll get to later. Game of the week. Well, second game of the week. Washington 2.5, 67.5 to Oregon. Interesting. So we can get Oregon at 8.5, or we can go over 61. Both teams have strong defenses, maybe. but not against teams like this. So this is where it gets very confusing. Can the defenses stop these offenses, which probably not? And so let's look at last year, which is probably a pretty good indicator. And it was 37-34 Washington. So it's a revenge game for Oregon. They did go to 71. The over-under was 74. So this is an interesting game. Over 61. If you lose with it, it gets to the point that, is it a good bet? Is Oregon getting 8.5 a good bet? Absolutely. Is the game over 61 a good bet? Absolutely. If it doesn't get there, it doesn't get there. But is it a good bet? And again, we got to bet this before the game starts and not after. So it's probably good either way, I think. Maybe better over, but I think this game is very explosive. Kansas, Oak State, Kansas 3.5 at Oak State 58. Kansas, I'd love as the dog in this game. They ran it down the throat last week of whoever they played. They ran for like 300 yards. So look for them to run a lot. Yeah, they're favored. Kansas is a very good team, though. They're ranked 23rd, whatever that means. But Oak State, somebody told me how good Bowman was, and I looked at his stats. He's got 2 touchdowns and 3 picks. So that's where I talk about Bowman not being good, is looking at his stats. Wisconsin 9.5, 36.5 to Iowa without McNamara. Interesting. The Vegas Nevada game, Vegas 9.5, 53.5. Pitt Louisville. Louisville 7.5, 46 at Pitt. Off of the Notre Dame game, they will be flat to a point. We'll see what happens with it, but I would think Louisville is a little flat here, but Pitt's kind of weak, so I don't know if they can do anything. Wyoming and Air Force, we love the Air Force, 10.5, 42.5. Roll Air Force, beat Navy. Arizona, Washington State, 8.5, 59.5. Arizona's not that bad. Washington State's much better at home off the UCLA loss. Maybe lay the 2.5, or maybe we go over. Auburn, LSU, Bobby, your LSU, 11.5, 60.5 to Auburn. Played Georgia 27-20. They have a good defense. They don't have much offense. LSU's got a good offense and no defense, so we'll have to think about that. Our Miami team against North Carolina. Well, we know Miami doesn't have a head coach that's worth anything. Their offensive coordinator sucks. 3.5. I don't know if I can take Miami in 9.5. I don't think I can trust any of their coaches. They're all Bush League. 56. I don't know. They played an under with Georgia Tech, who gives up 35 a game. They get 20. I don't know what to do with Miami. And the game of the week, Notre Dame, 2.5, 62.5 to USC. What do you do here? Again, the line shows 66 down to 60. What was it, 61.5 yesterday? Yeah, 61. So it goes from 66 to 61, now to 62. Do we dare take Notre Dame at 8.5? Notre Dame's got a pretty good defense. I don't think anybody really can stop USC, but USC couldn't stop a high school team. So do we dare go back with the over on Notre Dame like we did against Ohio State? This is the thing that fucks your mind up. How that game didn't go over Ohio State. 4 times they went for it on 4th down, and 4 times they didn't make it. That's 28 points. We get the over. I don't see that happening here. First of all, I don't see USC doing anything. Question is the Notre Dame coach going to run the ball to keep USC off the field? Now, Notre Dame does have a decent defense, although Louisville eat them up. So I think maybe you go. I still think it's just like the Oregon game. It's a good bet to go over with these offenses, and especially USC doesn't have a defense. I mean, we could get, Brother Rice High School puts up 30 on USC. So it should be with Hartman. This should be an over. Let's hold our breath. Duke 3.5, 46.5. I think this is a joke. I think Duke is much better than NC State. This line is way low. Oregon State, UCLA. Oregon State 3.5, 54.5. Oogly boogly against UCLA. UCLA is a very live dog here. They got a great defense, new quarterback, but he's getting better. I don't think Oregon State will bother them, but the game is in Oregon State. They just beat Washington State, UCLA. They played a good game against Utah. Man, that Pac-10 is just fucking loaded. I think UCLA at 9.5 is a good bet. Let's hope it happens. See, people, they don't understand. I mean, you make a good bet and they go, well, you lost. Well, yeah, okay, let's bet it after the game, and then we can win them all. I can beat Bernie Madoff. Boise State, Colorado State. Love this over. It's 60.5. These are over teams. And Hawaii, San Diego State. San Diego State's 6. San Diego State's a Z team now. They suck. 53.5. This should be over with Hawaii. They'll score and give up points. Where's the other over? Kansas State, Texas Tech could be an over. It's 56. Those teams are pretty explosive. Texas Tech's like USC. Good offense, no defense. Here's your UL Monroe, Bobby. Texas State 16.5, 62 to UL Monroe. The Air Force. San Jose State, New Mexico. This is the other over. San Jose State, great quarterback, no defense. New Mexico State, over team, and the over-under is 58. This is the over that you want to bet because these are two good scoring teams with two weak defenses, and it's a 58. Unlike the Oregon game, which is fucking 68, right? I got the same teams with probably weaker defenses, and I got 10 less points to get. So that's what makes the Oregon-Washington game tough is the 61 is a big number where you get 8.5 in Oregon might be the better play. This we'll have to find out. Bobby Bo, by the way, Professor, what are your tasks when doing financial analyst jobs? Well, normally I'm looking at the ledger. You create a budget, which is basically saying, okay, my light's going to be this. So a budget is what's your expenses? My light, my heat and air conditioning, my rent, my gas, my food, my car payment if I have it, my car insurance if I have it, swimming, and then the girls. And you factor all that in, and that's what my normal expenses are. Then you look at revenue and you go, okay, I get paycheck in. These are my expenses. That leaves me with the leftover. So that's what's called a budget. Then you're analyzing the budget every month. You go into like at Mercedes, I go into SAP, which is a big database like Oracle or Hyperion. I go in and I go to the ledger for my cost centers. So I got 5 or 6 cost centers that are mine that I keep track of. And I pull it and I bring it into Excel. And I have the budget already set, right? I'm going to spend so much on rent and internet and the electricities and the food. This is my budget for it. And then I bring in the ledger's actuals. So what you have in SAP Oracle is your budget. What you have then you go to your ledger to pull actuals in. You say, well, what did I really spend? And then you look at the difference. So, rent should be rent, but let's say food. Well, I budgeted 200 and it came out to 400. And then I bought more gold, but then you realize gold isn't really, it's not an expense, it's an asset. So I bought assets, so I'm okay with it. But that's what you're looking at is what do I think I'm going to spend versus what did I actually spend? And then you analyze the variance. Why did I spend 500 in food when I thought it was 200? Oh, I had a party. It was a birthday. whatever, it's the Super Bowl. Now, you would think you would put it in your budget, but maybe you didn't realize you're going to have a party, and then at the end, all the guys are coming over, which you didn't plan, and okay, we'll have the party, and you spend more, but that's your explanation. So I do a lot of that, a lot of budgets by 5-6 cost centers. At Harley, I had 92 cost centers, but they all didn't have activity each month. At Mercedes, it was 6 cost centers. So I created a file that had the budget in it, and then I brought in the actuals and the POs, and I was able to see, do you have a PO? Yes or no? And then if you do, what's the spend on it? What did you think the spend would be? And then you have your variance, and then you explain the variance. That's most of my job. Then you do forecast. So the budget's done in September for the next year, and then you have to then figure out. Now it's what is it? We're in October. Well, we did the budget last year. We thought we'd spend $100 million, and now here's October. What did we really spend? Oh, we really spent. We're at 60 million. Are we going to spend the other 40 million? Yes or no? Maybe projects got canceled. We dumped the electric cars. We added something. And so you walk it down. Maybe we're 10 million positive because we cut these 2 projects off and we added this one. So we lose 20 and we gain 5. So we're really only going to be 85 million, not 100 million. And so that's what a forecast is. It's kind of like redoing your budget. But since you do your budget, like now we're doing the 2024 budget. So if you're doing that now, then you get into what are you doing now as we go through the year, we tweak the budget. Oh, wait, gas went up or gas went down or food went up, the inflation. So I always say I always want to factor the inflation in. Well, let's add 10% for inflation, not the 3 that they tell us. And so I assume 10% inflation cost going up, and then it really shows only as 5 or 20, and off we go. So then you have that. So that's really what you're looking at, budgets, and then so basically how much am I going to spend? And then how much did I actually spend? And then there'll be other little projects that come up that the VPs want this. And so you do an Excel spreadsheet and you bring in some other thing, one of the sections of it. So I might have, like at Mercedes, I had licenses, as one of the subset of the whole budget was licenses, was service agreements. So then I'm analyzing the service agreements, or I'm analyzing the license. So I'm analyzing a chunk of the budget. And then special projects or whatever, you might track POs or look at purchase orders or stuff for the managers, right? So you got 6 managers. You try to do all their finance stuff. That's the typical role of me in IT. If I was more of like a finance manager, I might have somebody do it, or I might do it. What I would do more would be getting into inflation and gold. Like if I was running the company, there wouldn't be anybody working there. We'd be buying gold and we'd be kicking back, waiting for the gold price to go up. Why waste time with the business? I would just take the money, buy gold, and that's it. That's what I would do right now, actually. But everybody thinks they're supposed to do, like the guy in charge of Ford that's what he should do, but he won't. He'll run the company into the ground. But that's, so it depends on a big company or a small company. So if I'm running Mercedes, for example, I'd be looking at how much money did I make on the cars and on the trucks, and what's the big and the little, what's my market would be what I would look at. I'm trying to sell this top of the line Mercedes. We're selling for $100,000. Are we selling it? Is the price too high? How's the economics? How is the laws? I mean, then you're looking at it at a higher view. Then you go to, hey, professor, I need the budget and explain it to me. To see what's happening, I'm not getting into the details. I'm now looking at it at the top. So that's the difference if I was running something versus being the analyst for it. So it's mostly that, just using, if I see something hit the ledger, like a Mercedes, I know what I'm supposed to get. I saw a $4 million hit on the general ledger. And so I went to my boss, what the fuck? We got a $4 million hit that I've never seen before. And it was an error. And then I went up to the controller and I says, make the journal entry. This is an error. So I'm watching to make sure we're only paying for our stuff and nobody's dumping shit on us. So that's another part of it. But I'm looking at it more of an analyst than I am as a economist. But knowing the inflation and knowing the gold, that's where I get in trouble, because I'll say that. I'll say, well, why aren't we buying gold? And the guy looks at me and, okay, I'll go get another job. I just want to make gold, and then I don't have to do this stupid work. I enjoy it, though. I like the analytical. I like Excel, the SAP part. I like it all, but I have to be with people that are intelligent. Like, it's like I need to be with people that we can talk gold with, right? So when I go to work out and these idiots don't understand gold, I have a hard time, because I just look at them with contempt going, these guys are idiots, and I don't have anything to say to them. That's why the girl tonight, she understands gold and silver. So we talk. Now, she's pretty, but I talk to her because she understands gold and silver. If she was pretty and didn't understand gold and silver, I probably wouldn't talk to her. So that's part of my game. I need that part of the game. I need. Jenna understands it. Daria understands it. So that helps. But if you don't understand gold and silver with me, I don't have the time to waste to talk to you unless you want to understand it and I can explain it to you. But that's the difference. So when I go to the pool and I see these chuckleheads and I see the communists, I just roll my eyes and I don't even talk to them anymore. I just shut up and go in the hot tub and think about football or the girls and gold, and that's it. So anyway, that's what I do. And then I carry it to football. So I analyze football like I would analyze budgets and everything. And I'm asking questions, what do I do with Oregon, Washington? Do I play the dog? Do I play it over? And I try to figure it out by looking at last year's games. Who has Oregon and Washington played this year? Have they played USC? How did they play USC is maybe the way to look at it. Or how did they play Utah last year? Well, Rising was hurt in one of the games. But that's what you're looking at, is how are they going to play this type of team? Is it going to be an 80-point game or not? Last year it was. And I think that overrules the under. And then at what point do you take the dog versus the points? Now, we didn't even look at Oklahoma, Texas. We just took Oklahoma. And they won the game. So there's always, do I take Oregon in the 9, or do I go to 61? And so I'll brew that and try to figure that out. But again, I'm analyzing this like I analyze that, or I analyze that like I analyze this. But that's what I've learned how to do, is analyze. And so you're trying to, you're looking for the key. So usually on a key like this, I'm looking for a similar situation that will hopefully get me to the outcome. So I'm going to look at Oregon and Oregon State or Washington State or UCLA or USC or something. Well, not USC because they don't have a defense, but similar type of teams. How did they do? We can do that. Where's my guide? So let's look at Oregon and Washington. Let's try to figure this out. Okay. So here's Washington. So they killed Boise State, and then they really haven't played anybody. They beat Arizona 31-24. So they played a 55 at Arizona. Now they get Oregon. Well, we look at Oregon last year. They beat them 37-34. They beat Oregon State 24-21. They lost to UCLA 40-32 when they were the similar type of team. Arizona State, they lost 45. So they're playing high-scoring games. Arizona 49-39. Washington State, they won 51-33. And then they played Texas, and they won 27-20. So you're kind of trying to find a similar – so the similar game maybe is at UCLA, the Arizona game, the Oregon State game. Now, that was a 24-21. But Oregon State had a pretty good defense. Washington State, they played 51-33. They had a very good defense. So then we get into this year. Cal, they beat pretty good at Arizona. Like I said, it was 31-24. Should have been 38. They fumbled at the 2. Okay. Later, they get USC, Utah, Oregon State, Washington State. So a lot of that will be shown at the end, especially if Cam Rising's back. So then we go to Oregon. So we kind of got an idea. We go to Oregon, and what did they do? We know they got killed by Georgia 49-3. Washington State 44-41, Arizona 49-22, UCLA 45-30. Washington, they lost 37-34, and then Utah, you can't count. Rising didn't play. Oregon State, they lose 38-34. So they put up 40 points a game pretty regularly, except for Georgia, which was the first game. And then this year, Texas Tech 38-31. So there, so that was high scoring, although Tech doesn't have a defense. Colorado 49-6. They killed them, and now they're at Washington. So putting up 49 on Colorado doesn't mean anything because they don't have a defense. Texas Tech's the same thing. They don't have a defense. So you really got to go back to the Utah game. They won 2017, but Cam Rising didn't play. Washington, so it's a revenge game, 37-34. UCLA, 45. So, that's what you have. So they score a lot. The only game was against Utah, and you can understand why they didn't score a lot. So that's kind of how you try to read it. It's revenge for Oregon, and they should score a lot. Again, the Texas Tech game, 33-31. But then the Colorado game, Colorado doesn't show up. I think Washington at home will show up. And then what does Oregon do? Because it'll be loud and emotional for Washington, but it is revenge. So you might take the 9 or just say, fuck it, I'll go 61 and hope it's in the 30s, which is probably a good idea with these offenses. It might be better because Washington could beat them by, 10 easy. Being at home. So keep that in mind. USC, Notre Dame, we know USC, no defense. It's going to be – I can't imagine Notre Dame can't put up 30 points in this game, and we know Notre Dame will. So I'd be shocked if this is a 50 – all we need is 55, doesn't get to 55. I'll be just stunned. I mean, it's the bet we have to make. Does it win or lose? Again, we have to bet it before the game. And that's what you have to realize about betting. It's the same thing with stocks, and it's the same thing with girls. It's the same thing with poker. I got pocket tens. Well, I got to play them unless the guy goes all in, and he's obviously got aces because he only goes all in with aces. Well, let's say you got pocket kings. You got to play him. If the guy's got aces, you lose. But if he doesn't, you're well in the lead. And so that's how you play it. The same thing with the girl. She seems nice. She smiles at me. I ask her out. You're expecting her to go to dinner and that she's not too crazy. Or in football, we're expecting goal to go up. So we buy it. We're expecting whatever here. We're expecting this to be a high scoring game. So we bet it. And then we're wrong sometimes. We can't be right all the time. But this is what people who when money's involved, they don't understand. I don't know why they don't understand it, but they don't understand it. Money's involved. All of a sudden, you're supposed to win every bet. Well, fuck, I can't win every bet. I'm not. Only Madoff can win every bet, as he didn't actually make the bets. He just said he did. So you've got to realize that that's the game, right? The game of football. We're going to analyze it the best we can. We're going to try to over teams and under. Notre Dame, USC is a very good overplay, 61-55, very good overplay. But we have to bet it. No, we can't bet it when the game's over going, whatever. They scored 72. And that's all you can do. Yeah, we're talking about Georgia under. Well, in my opinion, Kentucky's got a good defense. We know Georgia's defense. I wasn't expecting Georgia to get 51. But if they got 51 against Kentucky, and now they got Vanderbilt, and Georgia's laying 31 there, they should cover that because Vanderbilt has no defense. So Georgia should put up the 50 here, but you're laying 31. So that makes it a little more. You might almost play this game over. If Vandy can score, they won't stop Georgia. Georgia probably will put up 50 by themselves. So it probably now we switch to Georgia over like we did in the championship game. I bet them under all year last year. We get into the Ohio State game. We get Ohio State even. They win on the missed field goal. But seeing that they're not stopping them and we're scoring points, we then go over on TCU. So we make that very quick adjustment. It's the only time I bet Georgia over in 2 years. And we had won every bet with Georgia under for 2 years, right? And now finally they're starting to score. So now we've got to adapt. And so we make different bets. So we're understanding. I see everything and I know what to do. I might stay on Georgia an extra week like I did, but it was because Kentucky's got a good defense. So it was a good point. It's some of these games you don't know. What do I do with Ohio and Northern Illinois? Then you have a little bit less to really go on, and then we got to check injuries. Well, wait a minute. I didn't know the starting quarterback was out. Well, I got to know that. That's why we're having the problem with Cam Rising. If he plays, they're going to kill. If Cam Rising's playing, we jump all over Utah. I'll lay 13. I'll lay 7 over Cal all day. But if he doesn't play, I want the under in the game. So that's the only problem is Cam Rising is waiting till the 12th hour to fucking decide is he playing or not. So the 13 tells me he is playing, but the 45 tells me he's not because against Cal, who can score, who has no defense, I would think this would be a 50 or 55 if Rising's playing because they're going to score a lot. So that's really what you're looking at. You're looking to try to figure out what's going to happen. In the pros, I'm a little bit better where I can pick scores. So let's go through my scores. I think I was pretty good. I think I impressed myself. So we've got Washington 34, Chicago 23. Obviously, it was 40-20, but I had the over. Buffalo 27-14, but then Jacksonville stayed a week, so probably a little bit different, but okay, I missed that. Atlanta 19-17, wins 21-19. Nailed that game. Detroit 21-10, was 42-24. Nailed that game pretty much. Tennessee 20-17. Indy wins 23-16. Pretty right on there, score-wise anyway. Miami 42-17, wins 31-16. Nailed that game. New England 17-16. New Orleans wins 34-0. You couldn't see that coming. But if you look at the total, 17-16, 33. They score 34. I have the under. So I did have it in a roundabout way total points. I got Baltimore 27-14. Pitt wins 17-10. Pretty close. Philly 24-23. Philly wins 23-14. That was really close. Cincinnati 21-20, wins 34-20. Burrow played well. I did hit Arizona's 20 just since he scored more. The Jets, I have 27-20 winning, and they win 31-21. That's the one that I picked the upset. I picked the underdog to win by 7, and they win by 10. That one I like. KC 34-27, wins 27-20. I have KC by 7, they win by 7. Frisco 24-17, wins 42-10. Again, hard to see. Well, it wasn't hard to see Prescott with 3 interceptions. I think I picked that. but 42-10 against this defense was a little hard to see. And I had Green Bay 19-17 and Oakland won 17-13. So I was pretty good there. And I think this helps because you try to put it in. I haven't put them in yet. I will. That's the next phase. So after reading it, I got to grade the teams, which I've got. I just got to put them on the paper. Then I'll put the scores in, and then I'll make my picks. So that's the difference in pros. I can put the score in to get a real feel. And when I'm in Vegas or when I'm making my bets here, I feel the games. In other words, yeah, I'm going to play, this team with this team. Let's say I'm going to play the Notre Dame over with the Oregon over, and I'll kind of feel the bet as if is it's going to win or not. And I sometimes I get a negative, and I move them out. Yeah, I got a good feeling Notre Dame over, but Oregon, I'm not sure of. Let's go to another team. And then I'll do it with Georgia. Do I want Georgia minus 25? And I'll go to make the bet, and then I get the feeling, oh, no, this bet's going to lose, and I won't do it. And I've been in Vegas. I've been at Caesars in line making the bet, and I'll get a feel of, no, this bet's going to lose. And I'll stop the bet, and I'll go to another team, and then I get a feeling like, yeah, that's the right team, and it wins. So I get this little sixth sense when I feel the team's going to win and when I feel it's not going to win. That's what I mean by feel, but it's usually at the time of the bet. So when I put in on Teaserking the bet, I'm feeling it then. And sometimes I will change it and go, no, this is not a winner. And then I'll pull out, put a new team in, and then it wins. I was shocked the Niners went over. That one I really felt pretty comfortable with, but that's what happens. I loved Oklahoma and Alabama, and then why didn't I lock those two? Well, I locked Alabama, but that's what happens. And then you'll pick a game and you're like, why didn't I lock that? Why didn't I lock the Colorado State, Utah State over? No, I had to go to Mississippi, Arkansas over. So it happens. You, do what you think will win. And that's what this is all about. Just like the women, you do what you think. But with the women, so the women smiles, you smile, and you get okay, I'm going to ask her out, and you get the sixth sense. She'll go out with you. And then you start talking. When do you like gold? What do you're communist? Do you like football? I do this. I'm an analyst. And then you see how her reaction is. If do you get a good feeling from her? That's really the key. And if you do, then you move to the next level. And if you don't, I don't like gold, or I'm a communist, the game's over. Then you've asked her out, but you really, once you get to know her, you don't like her. That's why you have to get to know her stage. You can't meet her and have sex with her and then not get to know her. That's another problem. So she's pretty, but she doesn't like gold or football. Well, what am I going to do with her? So that's what you're trying to learn the girl, but she's got to be attractive to you for the sex also, right? You don't want somebody who's not attractive. Sex is very important in the relationship, but so is the gold, and so is what she eats. I'm a vegetarian. Oh, fuck you. I like steaks. Who was I with? Somebody. I think Carmen's like that. But Jenna, we go out to eat. So when I'm with Jenna, she likes the gold. She doesn't understand the football, but she leaves me alone. And when we go to dinner, she'll choose. I pay for the cab. I pay for the dinner. She likes that. She doesn't bother me with if I eat steak or chicken or whatever, and I don't bother her. And so that works very well. So that's what you really need to. Don't fight over the bullshit, but it's got to be somebody that's attractive, but on the same time, the chemistry's there that you kind of, maybe she doesn't like what you like, but she doesn't bother you about it. I'm going to go watch the football game. Okay, go enjoy. Or she wants to do something, and I'm going out with the girls. Oh, go enjoy. That's really what you want. You don't want Oh, you're going to watch football again? Yeah, fuck you. That's where the problems arrive. So when I'm talking to the kid in the hot tub, he says, "I'm getting married." I'm like, "Why?" But he couldn't answer me. So he doesn't know why he's getting married. Well, I love her. Why? Because you're getting sex. So you want to marry the girl, and then what happens when you meet another? See, what I tried to say is, well, when you see another girl at Target as a waitress, as another girl that comes in the hot tub, as something else, then what are you going to do? And what are you going to do when that luster wears off? Then the rose-colored glasses come off, and then you see the girl. Are you compatible? I mean, marriage is for, a lifetime, not I like her now, I'm going to get married, then I meet another girl, now I got to get divorced. That's what I was trying to prevent, but he didn't catch it. I was married 17 years, and it was a huge mistake. I would have rather have married Jenna or Daria, then it would have been fine. But that's what you got to understand. You've got to be able to be with the girl who doesn't bother you or irritate you, and she's got to be with you in the same thing. So the things you don't like about each other got to be very minor. Then it works. Then the game's played. And that's what I mean by the game. So she understands you understand her, and whatever she likes, you either like or you say, go ahead. I don't, like Carmen liked high. She wanted to jump out of an airplane. And I says, I'm not jumping out of an airplane. You want to jump out of an airplane? You can go jump out of, I'm not going to stop you from jumping, but I'm not going to join it. And she gave me a hard time. Oh, come on. And I said, I'm not doing it. I don't like heights. I'm not going out of an airplane. So either you understand that or you don't. But if you've got to be compatible. Now, Carmen, she yelled at me a lot. So I said, fuck you. Didn't like spending the time with her like I do with Jenna and Daria. So it's a whole different ball game. They're just happy that I'm there and I help take care of them, and they don't pay for the flight, and I take care of the hotel and the food. So they like that. So they're like, okay, yeah, it's good. And that's really the key. Where Carmen, I don't think ever appreciated what I did, which bothered me also. So if there's a lot of bother, it's not going to work out. It's got to be very comfortable where you're yourself and she's herself, and you do. And once you have that, then it would work. So that's what I was expecting with the guy, but he had no clue. He's too young to get married. He has no idea what he's getting into or how to get out of it. And he gets mad at me, and I'm laughing like, well, you've got to understand that before you get into the game. What the fuck's going on? Anyway, so that's game playing. This is game playing football. Gold is game playing. Our expected outcome is gold would be 50,000 an ounce because the dollar. So the whole game is the dollar's being printed, which causes it to go to zero, which causes other currencies to come out, which causes the whole collapse because all the dollar will have no faith. Then it comes to what do we get our money into, which is gold and silver, which then here comes Russia with gold-backed currencies and gold-backed oil, which then makes the gold price go up. We buy gold and the gold price is going up. And we have to get out of the dollar because the expectancy is with them printing it, it's going to zero. And because we understand economics, not Keynesian economics, we understand if you print, it goes to zero. They don't understand that. They think, well, just keep printing more. They don't realize the more they print, the value drops and drops and drops. And they don't get that, right? And then the people will not want it. And that'll end the digital CBDCs, and the dollar goes to zero. And so then they'll have to understand that. And we are already understanding that's what will happen. That's the expected outcome. All life's about expected outcome. If I do X, Y happens. If you understand that logic, then you're way ahead of the game, because most people do not understand it. Like, why aren't people buying gold now? Because they're basically have no idea. And when they ask their financial planner or broker or whoever manages their money, they don't tell them about gold. Oh no, you'll be in stocks and bonds because they don't understand inflation. They don't understand $90 trillion in overseas is going to pull their money and the stock market's going to crash. So they just keep going, well, buy these stocks, buy these stocks, they're all going to go to they're all going to crash, right? So they don't know what the expected outcome is. So that's why they don't have an expected outcome of I need gold or I got to get out of stocks. They don't understand that. So they don't even understand the game to play the game. So that's why we ask questions. I always ask questions. Why? Why did Miami run the ball? Why did they only score 3 points at half? What was that all about? And that's really so we looked into it, and the only thing we can come up with was fixed game. The play calling sucked. The coaches should be fired for not understanding what football is. That's what we get. So we try to explain why we didn't get the expected outcome on the Notre Dame Ohio State. Why didn't it go over? Well, 4 times inside the 20, they went for it and didn't get it. If they would have got that all 4 times touchdowns, we go over. We would have hit in the 50s. So that's what we need to expect. Now we look at the point spread in Notre Dame SC and it's 61. So Vegas is expecting a 60-point game. All we want is 55, which I can't imagine not getting with this. But that's what you got to do. And then my point is, what do I bet on? I like a lot of games, and then I got to put them in teasers. So team A, I like team B, team C. I like 10 teams, but who do I put in which teaser for how much as we go through the list? Who do I eliminate? Well, there's a lot of risk here. Maybe it won't happen. Like Washington, Oregon. Well, I could take Oregon at 9, but do I really? Well, Washington could beat them by more at home, but it should be a high-scoring game. So that's what goes through my mind to get to the expected outcome of the teasers. Now in the pros, we did great. We're 8-1. We're fucking 8-0 until the Niner game. So I was perfect all day. And again, I think I had LA Rams with Kansas City in a teaser. I loved it. So I had the Jets in 2, and I love that. Nick won with Atlanta under. So that's what you do. The big bet was the Niners under I had with Alabama. I said, well, I love Alabama. What's the best game? And it was take the Niners Dallas under 51. And I couldn't believe they got to 52. But at the time, before the game, it should be a lower scoring game. So that's really what happens. But it happens in everything. What we should expect in gold, what we should expect with women or in marriage, or you don't get married, or in stocks. I mean, I don't get why people are so eager to buy stocks and then they lose and they don't. Why did your stock go down? Why listen to the broker? Why? I mean, that's the other part they don't understand is stocks. They don't get, I'm going to buy Apple. Why? Well, everybody else does. The broker recommends it. Do you understand that it's already been bid up by Warren Buffett and all these finance guys and, Michael Douglas and all these guys are already bidding it up and you're buying it at high. And you think that, so if a stock goes from 30 to 40, you think it'll go to 50 and 60 and 70. Why? I don't know, but I think all stocks go up. Well, that's the fantasy. And then when they print money and make stocks go up, like a Tesla, like an Amazon, it's not real, it's fake. And if you notice, those are the only 4 or 5 stocks going up and the others are all getting buried. But if you understand inflation, you would not be in the stock market because costs go up, profits go down because it costs more. You got to buy less. So therefore, you don't want to be in the stock market. But I know gold's going up. So you got to really look at everything. But you don't understand gold. So if you don't understand gold, you can't buy it. Or you can listen to me and go, well, I know the professor told me to buy it, but I really don't know why. Then I expect a question why, which I cover every episode of every classroom. Why is because of the inflation. So you're really buying gold because you got to get out of this because this is going to zero because they're printing it and inflating it. You can't just keep printing this. It will go to zero. Nobody will want it. Just like the Russian ruble, nobody wants because of the sanctions. You can't buy it anyway. So if you can't buy it, nobody wants it, the value goes to zero. The only way to survive is with gold. So if you understand that, then it's an easy thing to buy gold. You understand it. You understand why you bought it. And then your expectations on the other end. And that's the whole game. So it's poker, it's women, it's stocks, it's football, whatever you're doing. You're playing poker. I got aces. I expect to win. I got a 2-9 offsuit. I expect to lose. I better get rid of these cards. This guy bluffs all the time. When he makes $100 bet, oh, he made $100 bet, I assume he's bluffing. So I will call him with my pair of nines. Things like that. That's what you're looking at, the history to get to the future. That's why we look at the history in football. I looked at the Oregon and Washington from last year against teams like this. What should happen? They played a 80-point game last year, Oregon, Washington. I'm not expecting much different. Both have good defenses, but we saw Oregon, Texas Tech 38-31. So I'm really not, they're not going to shut out Washington. Washington at home can be deadly, so you got to be careful there. We saw Oregon kill Colorado, so the home field can be deadly. But I think this game will be a lot. Now, if the 67 was 57, this would be a lock. So I'm close to locking Notre Dame because it's 61. I go 55. But what bothers me is Notre Dame's coaching and Hartman not lighting it up as he should makes me struggle a little bit with that. I'd probably rather lock the Boise, Colorado State over at 55. I think I have a better chance winning that. Or the San Jose State, New Mexico, 58-52. Those are the games I should be locking. Those are the games that there's really not even. They just score, and you get these big games where Miami against Georgia Tech, how that game didn't go to the 60s is unbelievable. And yet it was 24-20, and even that was a fluke because it should have been 20-17 because if they just take a knee, the game's over. It's a 20-17. How did they play a 20-17 game with fucking Van Dyke and Georgia Tech can score and the whole thing? There was a lot of interceptions. I mean, it just didn't make sense. So that's what you're looking for is the best matchup to get you the over, the under, take the dog, take the favorite. Like last week, we had Washington State getting 9.5 from UCLA. They lose by 8. We win with them. We have Alabama getting 3.5 from A&M. They win. We hear Alex say, oh, A&M plays them tough, da-da-da. Yeah, I know that. I know that going in, but I see Alabama, Melrose is playing better, and their defense shut down Ole Miss is going to shut down Texas A&M, which is what happened. And, that's what you're looking for. You're trying to figure out the teams, to figure out the score. So, again, everything's a game. But the key is understanding the rules. So the hardest is women for us and guys for women, I guess, although it shouldn't be hard. We'll tell you anything. So women should have it easy in the game. But that's really what you're trying to do. You're trying to understand the rules. Then you can go. You're trying to understand the rules in football and poker and jobs and girls and everything. So once you ask to get the rules and you understand the rules, the game's a lot easier. So anyway, that's that. So we went through football and a lot of economics today. The war in Israel, what is that? Is that real or is that a diversion? Why now? I think it's a diversion because of the ruble coming out backed by gold. I think it's a diversion that the economy is about to collapse all over the world. And so they got to blame something on something, right? They'll blame Putin on the U.S. dollar crashing, and they'll blame the Hamas on here. I wish my girl in Hungary wouldn't get all scared that they're going to come and kill her. I think that's a bit strange. That what are they going to go to Hungary and go door to door and kill everybody? I just find that to be very strange. But I don't know what to say. I'm not there, so I got to be careful with that. But anyway, that's what we're looking at. So that's how you think about things. And if you can think about things like that, it makes it a lot easier to do things. Once you understand everything, so we play, let's play Georgia Vandy, and we think this is what's going to happen. And then we take Georgia minus 25. We think they'll score 60 points against Vanderbilt's defense, which gives up 34 a game. Against Kentucky, who gives up 17 a game, they put up 51, so they should put up 50 here. And then if they do, we picked it right, and if they don't, there was 5 interceptions. Like I lost the Rice game, and I looked, and they had 5 fumbles and 2 interceptions. Well, that's why I didn't win. Can you predict that before the game? I don't see how. So that's what happens. And then Rice will probably win this week, and UMass will probably get their ass kicked. And, you just sometimes it's the timing of it. But you got to understand the game. So we pick what we think will happen, and we hope it happens. And I'm very good at it. I've been doing it I've been doing it since like 1970, really, 69, 68. I just had a knack for it. I just could tell who's going to win or whatever, and I could pick it, and I could see the 2 teams and go, this team's going to win, and it's what happens. So I'm very good at being psychic to do that. Anyway, I think that's about it. Let me know if you got questions or comments. www.teaserking.com. If you want to email me, you'll on the homepage is there. What's today? Tuesday. I might post a game or two, but if I post early, then I kind of change my mind on Friday going, no, I don't like that matchup. I like this matchup. So, but once I post, I don't touch it. I have the way my thing is, I've been getting doubles. So I'll put a pick in, and it goes in twice. So I delete it. So if you see it twice, then realize it's an error. It's just the one pick. And again, if you don't agree with the pick, don't pick it. And maybe you don't like the combination. Maybe you like a team and you say, he likes Alabama as his lock. I like this team. I'm going to put this team with Alabama. You don't have to exact my bets, but those are my bets, basically, right? This is how I'm betting. And you do it your way, but I'm trying to be as realistic as possible going, well, this is how I see it. But you might not want to put teams in 2 teasers, and you might not want to put the matchups in, or there are other teams you might not like one of them. Again, it's all up to you. It's just this is how I see it. So I'm giving you the games, and off we go. So anyway, have a nice day, and wish you well. I don't know what's going on with these wars. Buy your gold before you can at these prices anyway. And hope to hear about this job soon so I can buy more gold. All right, www.teaserking.com. Have a very nice day. Thank you. And again, feel free to ask questions. That's why I do it live, so I can read the question, give it an answer, and we can go on. I don't really like the comments because I can't really respond to them. So if somebody says good picks, okay. If somebody said bad picks, what am I going to do? I can't respond to them. So that's why I'd rather do it live. And then you can bitch at me for picking San Francisco under, but it was a good pick. So what are we going to do? We can't win them all. We're not Bernie Madoff. All right. www.teaserking.com. Have a nice day, everybody. Thank you.